It's a 1 versus 2, and now the attack of Magic looking fantastic as they will tie this one up going into round number 5. And Llama felt like, I mean, they didn't really have to play, you know, sneaky about that one. Everyone just held sight and took them as they entered from both those lanes.
That's one of the beautiful things about that B site. If you can actually get the site control, you can just play back in Boathouse, you can play crossfire angles. There's so many different ways you can set up that post plan, and specifically Saturn. I mean, you talk about Ultimate Online has had a couple rounds now where they have multi-killed.
And I gotta wonder if they're gonna be marching with that. Sometimes when you have that initial null command, it's like, all right, let's rush this one down. They know that Ranga has a tendency to play this one longa, as they always look towards that link coming through. Bladestorm gets popped by Magic. Want to preserve some of this extra eco if they can. Paranoia will be just ahead of their flash, so they may combine on that. So here comes the null command, but Fuzzy's on this flank.
There's a watch for it, and the pings are coming out. Fuzzy has a chance to just rip through them all here. Nobody's looking. There's the first, and it combines for a 2. Ranga ripping down the rest of the team. The plant going through. Denial. Regentil turns around, takes his kill, but it's Spike Carrier down, and Lothman just have to... Now it's a 2v1 with a couple of flashes still available. Another flash. That ISO is not fun. Yoru, rather.
Now you have the 0th man, Othman if you want. They're going to use that neural theft. They're going to know the Seraph is right around the corner, so there's not much that you can get now from that Bucky, and they've revealed which weapon it is. So he realizes, all right, I'm going to try and play upwards. Arc Rose to create more blinds. All right, so they don't know they've taken space. He's got to realize that something's around the corner, but Scarecrow ends up being just a bit too much for Othman to take. So the Proud Feminist on what was basically that lower buy ends up taking advantage of some fantastic individual fights, and they will force this lead go back to them.
They just made a really smart play up mid. I think they started to recognize that Magic has been more 5-stacking these entries towards the sites rather than putting someone towards the catwalk way. So just send somebody flank. It doesn't really hurt as much on those eco rounds if you lose them. It pays off, and now they're up 3-2.
It's such a different way to play whenever you come into some of these matches and you know, okay, have to be able to kind of adjust on the fly for so much of the movement, so much of the rotation that's getting very well called out. Othman is able to get rid of Seraph, so there goes one of your duelists. Magic finds at least that first big pick. They pivot on it. They're going to get the owl drone. Oh, and they find him over the wall.
Paranoia comeback. Saturn, Othman, combination for 2. They found some way under the archway. And all of a sudden, what was a good look for the defense of Proud Feminist, Magic now have a 4-on-1 in their favor.
And Ranga, they were hoping to catch them just as they went up into Marketplace, so they end up kind of floating away from it. They know exactly where they are. They're going to put down the wall. They're going to put down pretty much everything. Ranga, if they can get one exit frag, I'll be impressed because everyone is just hiding in the boathouse, chilling on top of each other. So Proud Feminists, they're probably going to advise Ranga, all right, if you can make this to a hero moment, sure. Otherwise, you know, feel free to keep that weapon in hand.
LP bars aren't phenomenal. Everest, it's the reload anyway, and then the headshot on top of it. 3-3, we're all tied up.
Yeah. And Regentil, I had mentioned earlier that they were playing some Rocket League. They actually were playing Overwatch. So between heroes and agents, they know how to go into these FPSs. The key difference that's really impressive is how they play tactical shooter, where you got to kind of only make a couple of extra steps versus kind of an arcade style shooter like Overwatch. Constant movement all the time. But either way, we go into round number 7. Everything just as tight as it was. So we, again, Proud Feminists, this defense has not given up a lead to Magic as of this moment. So we'll see how this one comes up. You also have some key ultimates for some good retake if you're Proud Feminist to really utilize here.
If you just want to go aggressive, that Yoru one can be phenomenal. Styx has got a shotgun on close range down the entryway. Regentil is actually teleported right back into heaven. It's going to make things awkward, especially with a shotgun. Styx lose that 1v1 duel, and Regentil lose their life. A quick swing-in trade, and a 3-on-2. The reinforcements are here, and the reinforcements have dealt a unanimous blow.
Ronga hit the gonga, aim that bell, and then just send them to school. Wow, okay. You don't need a full auto AR. You can simply hit them with some precision shots. There's a lot of ultimates online, and one short of Fuzzy having yet another Hunter's Fury. So that wealth of economy may be able to get them some movement again. It's Proud Feminists that continue to have a solid retake, as well as not allowing Magic to do much more than tie them. And Magic feels like they kind of fully funneled into that moment. Just a full send. They've been much more tedious, methodical before hitting those sites, but as soon as they go right into it, they kind of don't know what to do with the cheese. The mouse just running around the cage.
Almost fell right into the trap again. That catwalk send out here. Magic is actually going to leave behind their Cypher as they steal away the ultimate orb, and for Styx is going to be suppressed from the Knife of KO. 4 ultimates left to go. The dash in from Everest only has the classic to work with. The spray is good enough for still one. It's Fuzzy comboing back, and Everest has pulled out the Vandal, but yoinked away from the Vise ultimate. And with Styx's double, that's a Proud Feminist back-to-back round count.
Look, the Steel Garden is a thorny beast to have to tread, and when you only have a classic going into that previous round, you're like, oh, okay, cool, I got a primary. This is fantastic. You cannot use that thing. It doesn't matter if you had it before or after. It is no-go for at least a few seconds. So, again, fantastic work by Proud Feminists, and I feel like they could break away as well, because this is going to be, what, Light Shields and Sheriffs at best for Magic. Proud Feminists are in a very proud position of advantage. They could really kind of run this down a couple times, but Magic also got that Rolling Thunder. I wonder when that's going to get kind of pushed in. They're going to play as a unit here in mid.
It's going to be against the Sova. They just kind of sit around, gather some information. Intel is going to send it forward with a nice little stun to start us, and Ronga's got a cut down on Catwalk. Now they've got to watch their back. Ronga has tripled, and these two players are stuck like sardines. They'll swing out and only get their one. It's not flawless, but it sure is close.
Oh my goodness, Scarecrow standing behind Fuzzy like a Pokemon trainer. Quick, Fuzzy, use Owl Drone! In fact, get some extra information, and they get to use them as bait as they find 2 kills of players from Magic popping in from out of the dark covers. So, Proud Feminists, they've tripled up now. Well, at least 3 in a row. They've doubled up the lead in front of Magic. This rifle round, as we're in round number 10, very telling for Magic and their total that they're going to have coming out of this first half. Got to find at least one more. Keep things reasonable. Don't have to rely on 9-3 curses.
Just trying to find some here in a 2-site map can also be sometimes tough when the defense just has that rotational advantage. Everest, though, has the shot advantage. That one's to the head. There is only a single omen to watch over this other than the Hunter's Fury that's already been popped out. The high ground play, it's blocked away, but the location is there. Oathman gets a shot, and it's all of a sudden a 4-on-3 with a neural theft information piece that Styx uses to turn into a 3v2.
They tried to hyper-focus away from the double box that was up in heaven. They knew they were just right there, but they didn't want to have to deal with basically blind firing into that box. It's a 2v3. You do have the Rolling Thunder. Well, you had it. Now it becomes a 1v1, and they both share one brain cell. They shoot through the same dark cover, but those boots are going to be given Regental away, and that is a 4th now for the Proud Feminists. At worst, this first half in 7-5, and Styx, at best, they find themselves an ace in this 10th round.
The old 5-ski, a nice little count to have here, and moves themselves up to the top of the leaderboard for the team and the lobby at now 11 kills. That's also going to do interesting things to the economy. Regen Shield's going to be picked up by 1, rifles for 3 at the initial burst, but it is 6 ultimates out there on the field. This round really could get chaotic.
Is 5-ski more of an Ohioan style slang? Is that where that comes from? We say fiver, but
yeah.
I
just like adding ski to the end of my words. I don't know.
Ski, you know what, broski? I feel that. You know. I'll see if the knife skis will hit the dome skis. They're gonna use that Rolling Thunder to try and gain themselves some space. Did it really land on much? You already use it. Really, one man gets stunned, that's about it. You do have an entire firing squad here at the corner. Everyone wanted some bullets. The shear is set up to try and get tripped, but you're gonna have 2 men running away. And Seraph, they're already across the map. I wonder if they're gonna be ready for this.
It's a nice little teleport play. Even has the ultimate, just in case. Oh, just set up in the dirtiest position ever. Check your corners, kids! Check your corners! Double kill, clutch, and a 5th round in a row for Proud Feminists.
Seraph had the stars aligned. Their crystal ball from like a year ago said, you must teleport and you must be in corner and be patient. And they're like, you know what? Something about this is ringing true right now. And Magic getting caught off guard, a trap card laid against them, and the Proud Feminists have a chance to get this to a 9-3. Wow, Seraph, that was a fantastic way to be able to get that round back.
Was a 2-on-1 start, finished it off. Here's Ronga, who has just been spreading blood across the steps of the catwalk, and then brings the knives. Oh, gets 3, Sticks finalizes another, and it's all down to Everest in a clutch situation.
Sticks or Everest be able to get one. Fuzzy finds Everest. They just saw their teammate fall, so they were ready for the incursion. So the first half, much more dominant of an affair. Proud Feminists, they found 6 in a row. What a way to really just start kind of rampaging and snowballing through this one, Llama, as now Magic has to take a turn on defense.
The good news is, for a 2-site map, might benefit them just a little bit more. The unfortunate thing is, we tackle barriers to entry, they really have none. It's just a lot of those smokes to try and block the vision, and that's what they'll have to work with to try and shut this down. Magic hoping the 9-3 curse goes their way, and it all honestly starts here with the pistol. You lose this pistol, you're already giving your opponents basically double digits.
You have kind of an activity that has to occur on both sides. You have the 0-point knife. There's going to be a lot of delay and a lot of stay that this team has to find with Magic, because they've got the stall from the breach. That fantastic shot by Everest is exactly what's been happening back and forth between them and Ronga this entire time. So defensively, they went out on the first piece. But Proud Feminists are at least knocking at the door. Seraph is over in mid as well, as they're trying to make use of that 1-4 split.
Here's a nice kill there from Viper to shut down the split. And it's 2 players just chilling out in the tree room, ready to cut down this with a crossfire. They've got Everest back on generator, and Fuzzy's got him dead after sending in the shock dart. Finalize the position, gets a double. These ghosts are starting to hit. They'll close the door, cut off the re-entry, and make it a 3v3 post plant.
Magic is going to have themselves a time. There's only 2 ways to really get in there. Sticks is chilling up in heaven with a shorty. No one wants to have to go into that cover, and everyone knows what controllers do. They make a smoke, and then they operate it within it. So basically, it's knocking at the door and knocking it down. You've got one man sitting in the corner, Scarecrow trying to take advantage of some PTSD and get into a check. Sticks surely could catch him. They will see 2 on the opposite side, but Fuzzy will hold entry. They do have that shorty. Red Gentle finds something not so gentle, and that's a fist fight with a ghost. They're going to try and just full send into this pre-firing. Do they wait on this? No. Fuzzy finds 4, and they will be up to double digits.
Beautiful round there, and a beautiful little set up attacking entrance. I think when you start the round down so many players, you've got to commit. You've got to hit some shots. They did exactly that, and clearing out trees, shutting down that door means there's only either the spawn side entry through long or the spawn side entry through heaven, and you've already cut down the first, so just able to hold those really close angles. And with that double digits, you now assume Proud Feminists, they've got the eco to possibly put on 11.
I was wondering if Magic was actually going to force up into this round, get some light shields, some stingers, just go and kind of meet them, but instead they're going to play this one separate from everyone. Guard that dark cover, hoping to play with that shorty. That'll be Regento that goes down quickly. Scarecrow and the gang. Remember, this is a best of 1 and a single elimination bracket. It is unforgiving. However, everyone knows Ascent, so this is a true measurement of neutral ground. This one for Magic, it's going to be tough for the retake. Everyone alive, and they're hitting.
That shorty from Scarecrow in just a dirty position, picks up the weaponry, and they go flawless. Magic not able to try it in that bonus round. And all of a sudden, they are just 2 rounds away from defeat here. The good news is, they'll have some rifles here for this next one.
At least a few. Though he should be able to have about 4, and I think that Regento had actually bought up into that previous. They had that shorty. They didn't really get to do too much with it, but Viper does have a buy, so this one has to be proactive. The Paranoia set up, and they have a 4 stack that's over towards A. This is their hard read. And opposite, well, it's definitely a B stack. They're gonna see if anyone has posted things for the Cypher, and as soon as they don't see it, this Owl drone probably will give them the go signal.
This just shifts in the night. We're just trading sites, and it's going to be back into that post-plant scenario. B, one of the toughest sites to retake here, and for Magic, this is a scenario where you're battling into a Vise, into a Yoru. There's just so many challenges on entry.
There's a ton. They're going to have that Arc Rose also with an immediate blind if you're coming in directly through that marketplace. The majority of fire, actually, you have it from 2 separate sites, so they might be able to kind of squeeze this in a pincer maneuver, but they're going to use this dark cover. We've got to watch out. Fuzzy, no, that's Fuzzy around the corner. Viper does get rid of sticks. They're going to go get some extra weapons, big upgrades. Everyone's starting to march in.
It's a nice little 4-on-3 here. Low HP on the Vise specifically. Scarecrow's going to be in a tough spot, and now a 4-on-2. They're just playing the buddy system to perfection, but they need to get in there. Both hostiles suppressed on the dagger. A 1-for-1, and eventually the cleanup. Defuse comes just in the nick of time with 1.5 to remain, and it's a much-needed round win for Magic.
As soon as the Proud Feminists recognized that there was no one on site, they just sprinted, and I was getting oh so worried, Llama, that Magic was not going to have that internal clock, especially the very loud one that was getting out there with all the pings really ready to go, but they get there in enough time. They make the call, especially when they had that first contact on that defensive link, and then as they pressed in from B main, everything folded out. So good looks by Magic. Unfortunately for them, they've got to do it 7 more times before we're even tied up.
Got a lot of footwork in front of them. And this is one of the interesting rounds where usually in round number 4, everybody's got rifles. After the bonus, it's the team that won that first pistol able to retract into some buys, and the early blind gonna go out. Everest gonna bite, and Everest still going to get 1. Omen Smoke gonna be utilized to cut off that position, but Everest is just ready to spray some bullets, choke them off, and just dissuade them from entering through that smoke.
For now, they know that the intel says there's no one at logs. They're going to try and use these spiky thorns to keep anyone from dropping there in the first place. And in fact, Everest gets caught just as it spawns. So if you're ever there and you have just low HP, you got to stay still. Unfortunately for them, they're going to have to go to the respawn timer and wait. It's a 4v4, and they may actually consider keeping Fuzzy alive. He's got that Hunter's Fury, but everyone's hunting forward, and this spike has not traveled with him yet.
Viper's gonna get quick traded, and with a 3-on-3 here, interestingly enough for Magic, they're gonna play a little bit further forward because they hadn't planted the spike just yet. Lots of great HP bars on either side, but that's knife used and knife missed.
All right, so you do have the Steel Garden as well for Proud Feminists to possibly just put this game away, put this round at minimum away, and get themselves to match point. Remember, BO1, there is no other map after this. It's only what you find round by round by round. So sweat's forming. Magic has got to be able to burst onto the site. They're going to do it probably the exact same way. They do get rid of Ronga, but now the weapons are going to go down.
Dodges away and still finds a way to get 1. Scarecrow is going to be left in a 1-on-1 scenario. 2 places to check, sees the teleport. Full HP for Reginald. Cleans him. Clutch play. Magic stays alive.
Woo. And only just. Look, that's a lot of time. Oh, but my goodness. Magic. It was Regental that faked the TP. They swore they saw them, but then they second-guessed themselves, and just as he drops from that upper lane, it's like, okay, I should be able to get this. You can land that any other day of the week, Llama, but in that moment, you're suddenly just very surprised you're seeing your target, and then they get to kind of boop and scoop you. So, Magic, relying on a lot of Magic to really kind of keep in this series, but one step at a time, right?
Yeah, I mean, 1 round at a time, a win is a win, and you know what? Their economy is going to be very happy from that win. It's going to be lots of rifles in their favor for Scarecrow and the rest of the crew, down to some Bulldogs and some lesser rifles of their own right. This is going to be a lot of pressure on this Bladestorm down mid. The flash is there. Seraph does take a few daggers, but survives on 25 HP.
Good news for Magic, that means that no weapon exchanged hands. so they don't really get a major upgrade from that. Stingers still sting, but they do have that longer range to kind of handle everything. They're going to try and funnel them through this tree position. Regento is going to pre-fire up into Ronga. Oh, and then they actually get the gate crash. Othman, he will fall, but not before Styx also goes down, and Proud Feminists are just trying to peel these weapons from hands. Fuzzy takes it away, and they're going to try and wallbang against Regento to force him back.
Viper there for his teammate, and Scarecrow is on 6 smidgens of HP, and unfortunately does not have the spike either. The jump up, heyo! Surprise, still gets one.
At that point, you're looking for a consolation. You're like, all right, I've got nothing. Let's see if I can land it, and they do. So they at least get a sample size, and so it was 7 at one point. We're down to 5 necessary. It is a grind and a half. And because of the previous buys, yeah, you had some general eco, but as you kind of eat all of that up, it's not exactly steady. So Othman is going to make a decision on what they're going to pick up. They have some regen shields. You do have quite a few ultimates that can support you for a retake. So we'll see if Proud Feminists can rock and roll against it.
You got a chance to pick up still map and match a point here with 3 ultimates on the other side, especially that neural theft. You give over 1 easy kill, and they're going to know about your exact game plan. Proud Feminists accounting for a flank to come through as they send one back towards mid, but this is going to be a drift into the dimension here for Seraph. They're going to find their way into the Hunter's Fury. Just say, use me as a target line. Oathman's down first. Viper gets the trade, and it's just going to be a hold for the post plant.
Very smart. They forced one man to run away as well in the middle of that, so Othman ended up getting just hard targeted by the lightning bolt. Seraph is not done yet. Just as that comes through, he's able to get a whip of the stick onto Everest. This is looking favorable for Proud Feminists. They do have at least 1 fall. Viper's not going to provide any more of those blinds and stuns. Now Magic, what can they get as both are coming in from heaven?
1 enemy remaining.
This is just a tough point to re-engage from. I mean, they're just watching from the archway. Fuzzy gets that one through the box. 3 players survive, and it's the Proud Feminists that are 1 round away from advancing in the bracket.
Took them a little bit of time to finally get here, but pressure's on for Magic to stick around at this point. So they will have at least a few rifles. Some full commits will occur. I think Everest, no, they're going to still be short of getting that Blade Storm. Proud Feminists, they've got everything they need and more to really get this one secure, except for a wealth of ults. Doesn't really matter. Their gun game has been supreme. And it looks like Magic is going to have this immediate challenge. They do have that tripwire set up on B, but they've got 2 that are on that logs and house cross. Let's see if I can get them. They get 1 tag on the Aldron, so he has to rotate out.
That Omen smoke, because it bubbles out, I mean, it just opens you to a whole host of shots. It's already a quick 1-2 rotate in. Ronka gets the 1-for-1. Styx gets his man, and that's the push forward. Othman can only get 1 as well, and Ronka is having a round for themselves. Traded out. Saturn almost 3K'd, but no, it's Fuzzy that wins it for Proud Feminists.
They will be moving on here in our May Spin Showcase. They'll be facing off against, I think it's Chippy's Choppas. So that'll be a fun matchup. That's the number 3 seed that took down Reload just a little bit ago. But let's give some love to this scoreboard as well with Fuzzy, who had started things off for us. And I think they stayed pretty darn consistent, providing a ton of extra information to their team, finding the 20 mark, and Scarecrow and Styx right behind them. But this was a pretty skirmishy, pretty kind of a scrappy battle late term, but it was that 6-round breakaway that really spelled the doomsday here for Magic whenever they found it in the first half.
I mean, they were really, really clean, it felt like, on both of their sides. I mean, other than losing that pistol, it felt like they had the ability to adapt, the ability to rotate in, and most importantly, just to clutch up some of those post plants, or rather, that's a funny tongue twister. Post-up plants, rather, and getting their shots with whatever weaponry they could. So, honestly, moving on to the bracket feels good, but for both these 2 teams, I think the experience is something they'll never forget.
That's very true. And look, if you don't forget, Stay Plugged In also has more showcases. They'll be happening through this summer. They'll happen in multiple months. So make sure to check everything out here for Stay Plugged In on all their socials. They'll tell you when it's happening and when you can sign up. And we're going to be telling you that it's time for a break. I believe that we got some Super Smash Brothers on the other side. So put down the bomb. Look, I put mine right over here. I put it down, okay? And pick up the sticks instead. We're going to be going to a break. More Smash on the way.
Before I switched to Brightspeed fiber internet, things like slow speeds and random dead spots really brought out the troll in me. I mean, I spent hours causing trouble. But then I switched to Brightspeed's fast, reliable fiber internet, and the rest is sunshine and unicorns. Looks amazing, Barbara.
Ultra-fast, Brightspeed fiber internet. Switch to the bright side.
Let's get it.
Welcome back, everyone, to the May Spin Showcase as presented by Stay Plugged In. Again, I'm Hale, Monkey Man in the booth alongside. If you didn't see it, it's the names right above and below. It's all over. It's Llama. It's Llama77. And of course, we're so happy for you guys to be back with us. We're switching titles around from Valorant over to Super Smash Brothers. And I need to know, Llama, are you a bit of a Super Smasher yourself? Do you have a main? Do you at all get into FGC? How are you about this?
Yeah, I love me some FGC. I'm not good at it by any means. I'm a Steve spammer. Everybody's gonna hate that, but yeah, I'm a Steve spammer. I know. But yeah, I enjoy me some, and I think especially for a scene where it is so kind of interesting, where you don't have team battles too often unless you're going into those crews. A lot of it can be solo based, and a single person really can carry it versus like Valorant. We saw you need all 5 players together.
Yeah, you go from the team, you go to solos, and it also depends on it. You could have that initial entry, especially into collegiate programs. They're like, hey, we would love for you to be part of our group and, you know, go into a team concept. So there is the ability for some extra coaching, the directors seeing how they gel. And that's why when we go into these big spin showcases, we talk about mechanics that a player brings, but as well as the way that they emotionally can support one another. Because some of these programs, they won't need you to be a star. They just want you to be a hard worker. So we will be going to solos, though. It is best of 5. And this first matchup, I believe, is in the Central region, and it's over in the semifinals. So we've gone at least a couple rounds deep into this bracket.
Yeah, this one's kind of interesting. This will be a 4 seed versus the 9 seed. Jamjar coming in as that 4 seed, and C. Stevens 383 as that 9 seed. It is a little bit interesting, the bracket, different from Valorant in that you have an extra life. We're playing double elimination. You have the lower bracket just in case, but it is going to be something you want to win all the way through the upper bracket.
All right, so we're going to play the lateral game, and we're going to be playing the combo game. Cloud versus Falco. Now, my boy Falco, he's very strong. Got that hard forward tilt that really can get you, and it's really all about that lateral press, and this is exactly what's going to be found a lot because Cloud has to build up into that meter before he really gets things going.
That limit meter can be something you've got to watch, but also that percentage, it's not looking too good that early here. And Jamjar, of course, entering as that number 4 seed with some big upward blows has already put them over 100%.
Yeah, they've not landed anything. Finally, a little bit of a slide tackle at least to be able to get to the ground. But as soon as you are at 112, one good up kick will deserve yet another, and they just send this Cloud into outer space. So one more to go down with. Stevens ends up dropping first, and this combination is absolutely killer. They're being burned up and alive. That is 2 in a row in a hurry.
I mean, that is what you're talking about with a dangerous aerial combo game with one of the best up tilts in the whole world, and then just follows it up beautifully. Now for Jamjar, you've got a 3-to-1 stock advantage. You can kind of just play all out and just go for a big combo again.
See if you can get some level of just any kind of damage. At this point, you know it's a best of 5, 3 stocks each and every single time. They're trying to use at least that blade beam to get something moving and create kind of a zoning path to keep Jam at least off center. And here we go, starting to at least kind of test that distance. They do work up into that limit breaker. Oh, and that does land. So finally something comes about. 37%. That's a workable amount of damage if you're really going to post up a comeback.
If you can play this low ground, that's the ideal notion. You really don't have great recovery on Cloud, so just getting the early damage in the stock, keeping that limit bar boosting and boosting and boosting. It's already 2/3 of the way back to full to go for those big punishes. So even though Jamjar is ahead, this is one of those moments where you've got to watch the mentality.
As soon as you get that up tilt, basically becomes a popped balloon, and Jam has all the pins, trying to get that quick dash. They're caught again. The Clem Hazard will land, looking for a big forward tilt. Not going to occur. They're just basically measuring each other through that shield. They're hoping to get some level of a spike. They get behind them, and so far so good. But Jam has had the advantage for a while now. 125%. One good kick. Yep, that ends it. First round. This one goes to Jam.
A really good start. I think once you get those early stocks under your belt, you can just really play your Falco game if you want. Of course, we are playing best of 5, so that's just one victory in the 3 that you need if you want to take the series overall. Now, interestingly enough, we're playing fighter lock, so of course the person that wins, you've got to stay on whatever you're playing. The person that loses, you can switch it up.
Yeah, and the cloud can work. I just feel like I think it was Stevens that was just not ready at all for the hands. Like they were caught immediately, and I think it was about 113% damage before we saw anything get ticked up onto Jam at all. So playing onto this Falco, there's an absolute amount of speed. They know the general distance. They were very good at just kind of being able to kind of forward press into the middle of the stage. So great looks out of Jam to this point. And I mean, they've been cleaning up through this bracket for the most part. They were able to take it into that previous one as a 3-0. So really seeing what they can come into this with Stevens. And Stevens, it seems like this is kind of an untested balance. Maybe that was one of their I guess worst first games that kind of comes in. Now they know the speed that Jam is going to bring the hands with.
Yeah, now you have a chance to try and swap things up for Jam Jar. Interestingly enough, it's going to be the swap over to Hero on the other side, but Jam Jar is the second highest seed left in the tournament. Wolfie Dude down in the lower bracket, but right now that 4 seed has a very easy path to the championship in terms of seeding.
Hero's not an often pick, but he's also got maybe a few extra tools to have to deal with this. So you have basically your full pack of wonders, especially into this just so much versatility that can go into a Falco. And so far, fantastic work. But at the other end of things, as they do use that thwack, it does come down. Eventually, they cannot recover, and that's first stock in less than a minute.
Just the aerial control here. Jam Jar, I love what they've been able to do in terms of overall control of his ground level, pushing him up with the shields, getting him to that second level here of the Pokemon Stadium, and then just enunciating on those aerial attacks to continue the stock battle.
Good forward aerial as well. I mean, you finally get some extra damage, and maybe they'll be able to play into this, but that was just a hard tilt shielded out. And again, you're just getting juggled around like the circuses in town. 100% Jam waiting for them to try and at least phantom through that near side platform. They catch him on the stunner, and then they catch the gunner. Goodness gracious. And oh man, Jam is not letting that one be unknown, that they know that they are taking these fights hand over fist.
Combos have just been phenomenal. That's a good prediction from the other side here for Steven off of the switch. Gotta watch the mana, waiting for it. 130%. The shield mistimed, and that's a send out of the arena.
I wonder how much of that was charity, but still, you know what? Good job to be able to catch at least one. They get him with another reflector, and it's such a demonic way to play. They're going to just spike them down. This one, no rest for the wicked, and this dude is absolutely evil with it. Jam catches 2, and that's going to put him on series point just before the winners finals.
And relatively quick, I think, as well. Just being able to combinize all those early aerial plays, and honestly, it's just the step-up gameplay. Once you control the ground level, you're able to control the air. Once you control the air, you control your opponent. Once you control your opponent, well, the match is pretty much already over. And now you've got 3 chances. Now you're in the advantage spot where even if you lose 1 or 2 of these upcoming matches, all of a sudden you can change, you can adapt to whatever your opponent throws forward.
And I don't know if they're going to stick with Hero, even if they found a lot more damage onto them, because it feels, I mean, obviously, whenever you go into your bag of holding, you have a lot of extra, I guess, abilities that you can kind of pick from. The versatility is there, but there's a lot of projectiles, and if there's something that we've seen coming out of Jam so far, the reflector, that lateral press to get around everything and also to send it right back at you is dangerous. They tried to lean into the sleep, catch him off guard. That got sent right back to him, and so your greatest weapons as Hero can be used immediately against you. So we'll see if that comes back to ruin, and or if they switch things up yet again and see if C. Stevens is going to be going to the lower bracket, or if they're going to post up a comeback. Because right now, Jam's turning this into a clinic on how to get a best of 5 done pretty quick.
Very fast day so far for them, and it is important what you noted, though. We've still got the lower bracket just in case for either one of these players, and that can be sometimes what fuels a player. You take the loss, you know what beats you, and then you drop down to the lower bracket into some teams that are knocked down a little bit earlier. So pushing yourself further and further going to be ideal, but this map number 3 going to be ever important for C. Stevens.
Yeah, I want to see what they do going forward. And of course, to give you guys a bit of the scouting report into it, Jam is a sophomore, so even a couple of years that they'll have left in high school to really start developing and looking for those recruiters, those programs that might want someone with some of that flair. On the other side of things, C. Stevens, I believe, is a junior, so looking maybe for that next step of progression, be able to have some change-ups. They will be sticking with Hero, so they found some promise, some early damage, but they can't leave themselves kind of wide open. It felt like they took too long for a couple of their spell decisions, depending on what they want to do. But it's an uphill battle, to say the least. We're going to go town and city, and Jam is just going right back to work.
Right off the edge, just controlling the guard of it. And the big thing here for Hero, your moves are just really, really large overall. If you can hit those hitboxes, if you can avoid the lateral dodges that the Falco is going to try and throw forward at you and dodge away some of this early combo damage. But again, already the knee connects, sending them aerial, and it's over 100% quickly.
Continuing to force Stevens off the edge, and he knows that he has a long telegraphed special to have to get up on stage on the Kaswoosh. So for that one, sends them packing, and this is just Grab City. So with all the platforms gone, you basically go into a micro final destination, and they're absolutely taking advantage of the fact that this is just not a hero that's going to get away. Being pummeled. Oh my goodness. Look, the chat's telling me this is one of the best in Oklahoma, and I'm starting to believe.
Might just be one of the best in the United States at this point with how absolutely clinical they have been. And you notice sitting on this 23% for forever, goes for the footstool as well, jumping on top of him. Finally some damage connecting, but this is just an aerial duel that you are not going to win.
Okay. Able to at least grab the old frizz, see what they can do with that. Sorry, that's a frizzle. But yeah, that outside blast zone, and it had Steven's name all over it. Jam was to oblige. 3-0. They move on. They'll be going from the semis into our winners finals, setting a land speed record doing so.
A really quick series for them, and I think confidence, something that when you're playing two different fighters overall, you're able to do the exact same result. Even after your opponent swaps the map, same result as well. So for Jam, now they're in a position where you're one series away from the grand finals. You're one series away from having the extra advantage of a bracket reset if need be, and all you got to do is just win one more best of 5 to get there.
Trying to make it a short day over in some good old Central Smash. So we'll see if they continue their reign of tyranny as we go into a short break. More Smash will be around the corner here for our May Spin Showcase. Don't go too far. We'll be right back.
Ah, come on. Come on. Before I switched to Brightspeed fiber internet, things like slow speeds and random dead spots really brought out the troll in me. I mean, I spent hours causing trouble. But then I switched to Brightspeed's fast, reliable fiber internet, and the rest is sunshine and unicorns. Looks amazing, Barbara.
Ultra-fast, Brightspeed fiber internet. Switch to the bright side.
Welcome back, everyone, to our May Spin Showcase 2025 popping off, and we're already in May. Oh, man, 5 months into this, and we're seeing some great esports, scholastic feature of all this awesome talent. And I'm still Hell Monkey Man alongside Llama. Llama, we are being given treat after treat as we get to see all these students showing up on a weekend, no less, really showing up for all these recruiters, and a lot of great gameplay that's going to be in front of us as we're going through this bracket. We're already in the winner's final here for the Central region.
Yeah, we just got to watch Jam and their Jam Jaro, whatever. The 3-0 sweep over C. Steven, who is now down in that lower semifinal against either Zib Rash or Yita. So a couple of entrances, though, from Mystic after the 3-1 victory into the upper final. The winner of this one, Monkey, they get the first spot in the grand final.
Yeah, this one actually went to a game number 4, I believe. So ignore the tie before game 7 that's in that semifinal listed there. This one will, in fact, be Mystic, and it's going to be I think a hard battle between some sophomores, as Mystic will be going against Jam Jaro. And from what we were told, it's going to be, would you consider an upgrade to go from Cloud to Sephiroth into a Falco? You get that, like, 7-foot-long katana to have to deal with.
Yeah, I think Sephiroth is very interesting overall and something that it takes a lot of skill to pilot. So if you are the 14 seed here in Mystic, you're coming out swinging with that long sword, and Sephiroth has just some really, really powerful overall moves. Now, the one thing you're going to have to avoid, Jam was just comboing their opponents, not only in the last one, but all day long, and that's what we're going to get. Falco versus Sephiroth in a best of 5.
Can you keep from getting clipped on? Mystic has been in these brackets before, and we've seen them kind of take their time. Now really kind of gauging the distance, and you're already getting caught in a neutral affair as they are getting juggled around. And again, Jam just making it so tough to exist in mid-stage. Mystic, you actually use a great down slash and already showing some of the power that you get from off of these neutral melees.
You've got a lot of range, but also want to control that mid-arena if you can. You can edge guard with that projectile, but the most important thing is staying on and avoiding those combos. Again, Jam just walking all the way towards the edge. Mystic goes for the reversal.
They got that Shadow Flare, and now you're trying to be able to get back, and they don't have enough reach. That is the first stock that we see get dropped completely, and oh, that's unfortunate. We currently have a connection error. Gotta wonder if they're gonna be actually playing out the rest of that one, or if we simply dropped out of the lobbies. So okay, let's take a look at it. It was some early damage that was applied by Jam, doing the kind of same combination that we'd seen them do before when it was on to a Cloud a little bit ago. But going into this, like the reverse, able to find some fantastic power. It was really the grab and stab off of the Shadow Flare that really kind of changed that momentum and got that first stock.
And honestly, the interesting thing is Sephiroth, very light, so we saw those combos hitting very early on, but overall recovered well, controlled the center of that stadium, and then once you get your opponent off the edge, it's not only that projectile, but that long sword is just so good at keeping them off the edge. The question is going to be whether that will continue, like we said, if it's just a full reset for that map number 1, or as a reminder, we're playing Fighter Lock, so the victor of this first one has to stay with whatever they selected for the first one. The loser does not have to.
Yeah, that's very true. And I feel like that there's not going to be a massive change to go away from the Falcon unless something kind of goes, you know, just to a elongated time. So if I believe that this one just ended. So we're going to be checking out who took it. And in fact, it was Mystic on the Sephiroth. So Sephiroth staying at least locked in. Falco, we got to see just kind of this much of it, but considering that game went bang, 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 that was like 2 minutes. Gotta wonder if maybe something does switch around, but some players are real committed to their mains. They're like, no, I can fix that going game number 2. Do you hard fixate the same way even on your Steve spam when you play?
I think I do. It partially just because I'm not necessarily as good on other things as many of these players are multi-combo talented, but also I think it's all about comfortability. When you're in this point, when you are one series away from the grand finals, you don't want to go into something that maybe you kind of know that might be a full counter, because it's just going to lose you the series overall. So finding that kind of gray point between the two of something you're comfortable enough with, but also something that might be enough of a change up to switch things up.
And you had talked about for Sephiroth, he's kind of that mid-light. He definitely makes, because of the giant coat, dude looks like he's going to be at heavy, but he only kind of stands real tall with everyone else. Otherwise, he definitely is kind of that middling, but makes for great use of movement around the stage. So maybe some of that did, in fact, frustrate Jam onto their Falco. I think they end up staying with it, even with that one ending as just swiftly as it did. We'll be going back to Pokemon Stadium 2 as well. So nothing to change, nothing to cry about, simply trying to execute a little bit better.
I think for Jam, had that early on mistake where they couldn't grab the right side of the stage, just trying to refixate on this. But again, once Mystic has gathered control of that midpoint, has just used the blade, using the slash to send him to the right side.
Do use that side B to be able to get back to it. A couple of big up tilts, and they actually use some of that extra distance now from this katana. This is such huge poke. That 7-foot katana is so difficult to dodge, which means they have to find so many quick parries to get their way through. Getting away from that up air was massive.
I think the other thing for Mystic that is so different from playing against this Cloud is the aerial mobility. Just the dashes around are so quick to avoid some of the rack-up combos that Jam wants to build, and it is going to be the Falco, the first to 100.
Just waiting for him to come on down. They let him touch ground. I was thinking perhaps there was going to be some quick contact. They shield through the majority of that would-be forthcoming damage. Also, a quick jump to get out of what was a reflector, but it still ends up being the same result. And now as they use those invulnerability frames, trying to see if they can get some extra on the other side. 132, they're going to use the Firebird to get back in, but they're still living.
Nice survivability piece there, and of course Mystic winning that first overall map is just one away from garnering themselves the series point and a much better result for Jam. You win this one, it could be all tied up and playing with fire here on 150.
That was fantastic. Reflector move. He comes right back on the stage. He knows he's being tracked the entire time, and he is just hot on the rock against Mystic, sniffing that cloak as he's popped up the wing. Can the one-wing angel finally put the bird down? He clips him, but Jam has done the damage against Mystic. He's already at 111.
This is a two-stock battle now, where you just need to gather as much as you can. Mystic flies outright and jams up a stock.
Able to get a shield, but still, they're playing very, very kind of devil-may-care to a degree off of the stage. As we just go into dominant full flight form, Jam wants to welcome him into the fray, but he actually goes full combo, so we're going to be at 60s apiece. This only plays into the hand of Jam for the most part. Great grab, throws him down, and he's trying to track after them, but Jam welcomes these hands.
Using the noggin there to take Mystic up to 85 as well, and just going for the edge guard and the finish. We're all tied up.
Fantastic knock. That one was about pace. That one was about Jam not wanting anything of rest for Mystic. It felt like so much of his success was when he could line up a lot of those better grabs, especially the Shadow Flare, to be able to get some of that extra tick damage and then just zone him away with the length of that melee from the katana. But when he just basically became that shadow upon his cloak, he couldn't get rid of him, and definitely the rundown out of that Falco did him in.
Had some good off-arena play as well, just looking for those footstools, looking for those bouncers, and specifically holding the edge guard to make sure that Mystic was gripping the edge for 10% of that fight and wasting the time just trying to find those recoveries. The important thing is, though, that's now a map for both. We're all tied up 1-1. This next one will be someone earning series point.
Yeah, and we're also going over to Final Destination. You have no platform play. Everything's dead, kind of left to right. And that, I think, plays pretty tilt-wise, 55%, I'd say, into Jam's favor. It's not exactly kind of the longest board, but you're going to have to deal with a lot more projectile kind of distance coming out of Jam. Now, to that end, this sword is about as long as half of the stage. So that's why you're seeing this start to really combo up. And that's a fall off for Mystic?
Kind of a mistake, you could say, along with that. And talk about the mistake from Jam in the first one. These players playing at high stakes and can definitely happen, but for Jam, they're up to 75% in their own right. Dodges the low ground hit there, but without any platform safety, you have to drop right back into the katana slices.
Yeah, that's great meteor strike as well. Gonna use a special to get back on stage. Is this gonna be 3-0? Nice grab to at least force him out. They just have the bird run into the window. He wanted to stay nearby, but that ends up being too far down to the lower blast zone, so Jam eventually falls him out. Mystic is seeing this one be so frustrating. His extra time spent on the edge and the ledge. He's like, all right, what in the world do I do to get back in this fight?
Just gotta hit some combos at this point. Maybe use your projectile a little bit more. Try and burn down that shield. And there's a good 40%. The grab as well. Gonna bring it up to 60. A slice and dice here and a good little move from Mystic.
Oh, they used that side special just to be able to get back into it. Where they got a forward tilt, but it went left. They were trying to pre-read these drop downs from out of Mystic, and he's become a kicking cushion. Jam wants to have another strike down, send them away, and force us into match point. But he's played some catch up. However, 107%, and they're swinging the katana like they're swinging a baseball bat, aiming for the fences.
And Ariel can just send it with some speed, but Mystic has still got some life. Stage right is where Jam will fly, and is just going to go for the slice off the left-sided Sing, but it's not going to connect.
Hoping to be able to get him to walk into that just flurry. Work into that ledge. Jam knows. They get one solid perfect parry, and then they got him off the boot. Final destination for Mystic is the sky, as this one will go now 2-1 off of this great Falco play from Jam. These two sophomores really showcasing and strutting their stuff, and what a good comeback this has been now by Jam, and we got to see something posted up in the same way for Mystic.
Mystic started out the series with that first map victory. Now is in danger of the gentleman's reverse sweep as a possibility overall. And you win this next one, it's a lot different. You go to a final map, it's all tied up, but now you've got to win those two straight. And these two players seem like they are locked in their fighter pick. And it seems okay because they've got to this point with it, and that's what it's going to be for map 4.
The one-winged angel versus the two-winged pilot. Who's going to be able to take this one through? We go right back to final destination, and this could be the final place that we end up fighting if it goes the way of Jam. He's going to continue to put the feet and the work and these wing attacks directly into the face of Mystic, but they are able to counter, get back on stage, and put this katana to some solid cutting.
Like that early kind of combo with Hex play here, but Mystic, again, once they control that middle, that is what it's all about here. Getting up to 81, not what you want to see, but it's very early for both these two, and Mystic through the stage, that's a slicer.
That is a blender. Anytime that you are going to be up onto that ledge, there is so much cut distance. You basically cover a third of the stage from that corner, and what a way to recover. Mystic's still at 102. He's going to try and play this one coy as he fast falls, but then immediately up to 30%, and Jam is just running straight into the face of this human cutting machine.
Mystic has changed up the strategy. Instead of going for more of that neutral control, playing off the arena, playing for those slides and those dodges with that quick aerial mobility. Another offstage play that goes Mystic's way, up to stocks.
The dude has only been hurt 6% more. You're seeing Jam like, all right, okay. They're in the same mental space that Mystic was all of a game ago, and maybe this is more of that consistency that happened in game number 1 that ultimately gave Mystic the early series lead. Jam has a lot of work to do, and he has not been landing some of these shots. He at least has a bit of poke from distance from off of his blaster. He's trying to make the quick dashes to cut down some of that space, maybe get a grab or so, but he has just been going straight into the face of this attack. Not been able to land much. They land one down, they kick one up, and finally that first stock is out.
It's a nice little knee to the sky here. Jam still has to do a lot with this stock. Still 2 more to take here. And well, Mystic is back to just using that right side to their advantage. Playing off the arena, going for more of the long distance here. But Jam is starting to work it.
Shadow Flare got some extra tick damage. Got to watch out. Jam is able to play from behind. They do at least. Oh, nice meteor kick. They can even things up. They're so close to be able to pressure them away, but Mystic knows that they just have to get those very patient reads. They've been dropping off of this ledge a time or two, but Jam Jaro does not want to have to send this one over to a game number 5. Mystic still has the advantage right now, especially into 90+ territory, but we're tied. Jam cannot recover.
Game just like that, and Mystic will send it to one final map here after the off-arena battle results in both players' doom, but one player had another stock to give, so it is going to be all 5 here, and, you know, I wouldn't expect anything less from a winner's final.
Yeah, one of these players now, golden ticket, ready to be basically clipped as it goes into that grands. And so what a way to keep focused if you're Mystic. That previous game did not shake them, but you could tell Jam definitely took a moment of pause in the middle of that fight, recognizing that this is a patience game, and they were definitely kind of all in, running it down into the sword play. So what will they change that stage, I wonder? Will some of that come back around, play more with platforms instead of this kind of this even layer single battlefield? Because Final Destination is cool and all. That's where I challenged a lot of my friends for. I was like, all right, face me on Diddy Kong, let's get this down. They hated my banana. So as going into this, I feel like you go back to a PS2, maybe switch something up stage wise.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get to something that is, like you said, with a little bit more platforms, a little bit more aerial control, the Falco just does such good combo set, and it's not going to go.
All right, we're going to Callus. So you do have some extra versatility, and I think that this is actually a very smart play with the way that he was getting so much reach from his katana from that edge guarding. If you can have that platform above, you have a safety distance that allows that poke to kind of stave off. So job well done, at least in terms of pick, and it also goes into a kind of a weird 45, but now we're at even layer. Jam is going to be chasing after Mystic. He tries for the backstab, but now he has to get back on stage.
Just use Red Rocket up top, and Mystic's the only one rocketing you to the left side with those sword combos. If you don't get the first piece of it blocked, it is just so easy to follow it up and get those early finishers. Again, Jam playing a Falco that is relatively light, and you can be so easily just juggled up in the air.
Oh, and yeah, he has been slapped around at this point. He's going to have to go to up special just to be able to confirm getting to stage and back. He's going to slam those boots in the face of Mystic, and Mystic continuing to just snap, crackle, pop this bird out of existence. It's been tough for Jam. Mystic is just playing it cool and coy. He's already got 2 stocks. The uphill battle begins now, but what a meteor slam to get him off of this stage.
It's a good still stock here. 5. This is it for Jam. A date with the lower bracket if they can to stock them right here, right now, just playing a little bit more reserved towards the air and then goes for that kneeing upwards combo. It's a lovely one, but Jam has got to watch for those follow backs.
76% damage. Jam is keeping this one close to the vest. He's only suffered 13, and wow. All right, going down 2 for the content, and then finding a couple to get this guy at least on the ropes. However, Mystic hasn't suffered much. He's trying to play for counters, looking to see if he just gets the same qualities that Jam threw at him before. Just going straight into the front face of the tip of that sword, and look, he has him actually hopping away. Can't quite get a lot of these different combos set up. He's been able to set up that medium to long distance, and it's being cut down by Jam.
That blaster, so good at just kind of baiting Mystic in, and then the Hex combination, utilizing some of the flames here, though. And Jam's got to be careful. Don't want to fall off at this point, but Mystic is very low now.
Ooh, catch him one more time. One solid up kick, and this might be over. Depends if he got some cut underneath that platform. He gets it from behind, little short hop. He's going to try and go for this right now, and he's going to go and blend him. Oh my goodness! From 0 to hero, Mystic! The comeback from 2-1 to take it in game number 5. He has just made himself a rival that will go down to the lower bracket, but Mystic will be sitting pretty at the table in the grands.
And I think you're talking about for Mystic, not an easy route to get here, entering as the 14 seed, just finding ways to win the matches, and that is all that matters at the end of the day. The 3-2 victory plants them securely in the grand finals. Now they just gotta wait for their opponent.
Oh my goodness, we'll get to see if it's gonna be Jam. Jam, that took me by surprise. It was suddenly about 40 to 50% of pure damage onto that upstrike. So fantastic work, even with the Kalos stage change, just keeping themselves cool. So Jam, they've got some work to do. It will be in the lower final for whomever is going to face off against them. And you and I, we're going to be seeing even more of y'all out there as we got some Smash around the corner. I think we're going to the eastern region, but for the moment, we go into a short break. More of this May Spin Showcase back in just a little bit. Welcome back, everyone. It's time for some good old Super Smash. As we get back into the May Spin Showcase, we've so far seen some very fast battles and some great comebacks. That last one went to a game number 5 in Kalos, but we go from Central over to East. Llama, that last one felt like it came down to the wire and to some good old ledge guarding, but we're going into a heck of a matchup of the number 1 versus the number 2.
Yeah, these are the top 2 seeds of this bracket, and both are still just one step away from the grand finals. The good news is this is a high-stakes matchup, but you do have 2 chances if you are these 2 players. So if you win this one, you're into grands with a chance of the bracket reset. If you lose, you still got that second life and second chance to work your way through the lowers.
So, as we get into this, it will be TM7 Zap versus Myth 19. Both these players are seniors. And yes, in case you are a Pokemon knower, TM7 is from Gen 2, and it was for Zap Cannon. And this is one of those players that has been around and definitely found some success. They did so just a little bit ago against one of our other perennial favorites in G-Locker, who may cause some chaos down there in the lower brackets. So kind of a matchup of 2 titans that are really finding their form and honestly looking for that next scholastic level to compete in.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a great matchup as well, because it's also going to be 2 great players, but also it's going to show everyone what they've got in the tank against another great matchup. And I mean, Rob, that is the GOAT.
Very much is so, but he's gonna have to go into the fists that, you know, everyone's been kind of working with for the most part. As soon as you get into this combination, it feels like it's basically over. However, Rob has some fantastic escapability and can also eat up a lot of this damage. Unfortunately for him, though, they are at 111. The good news is their up special allows them to navigate that lower blast zone pretty well.
Can dodge away from some of those attacks, and specifically for the Rob, if you can just get into some of those aerial spinners, that's really where you can get your damage going. Has a lot of outside control, can use those jets to get back on the stadium, and just use a lot of the projectiles to re-engage, but there's going to be the first smash coming through.
The good news is that at minimum they were able to get 89% and then some, and they're going to use that quick arm rotor to be able to get some lateral damage. So good looks as they were trying to hit some of the big laser beams. The robo beam didn't quite find its way. The spinner's going to try and be a zoning device, but Kazuya is such a finicky style melee brawler to have to deal with that if you're not ready for the damage output, you're going to find about 70 to 80% damage in a hurry. This one should even things up, but no, he can survive just as much.
At 151, I mean, a heavy character being able to do that, impressive, and won't get back to the edge, so we're all tied up 2-2.
It's basically the same style of character if you really think about it. Maybe not the same in terms of getting those grabs and just kind of being a 4-part combo, but with the way that they have the extension off of the laser beam, oh my goodness! Just obliteration! Just dog walked him off the stage!
That is insanity. And the combos are just crazy with Rob. It feels like you have the ability to do that, especially against a Kazuya, that if you can find those extra attacks on top of, as a very large hitbox that you can punish. It is something where you yourself combo and then have the projectiles to follow it up off stage.
Just short walks them with that quick spinner. Oh, trying to make use of that kind of medium distance. Wants to be able to grab at least those 4. They go for the demon laser, but that really doesn't do too much. Sorry, the devil's blaster. As devils and demons, they ain't friends. I should not put them in the same bucket. Gonna have that up special. He's probably gonna navigate away from this, welcoming any of that. If they can be able to down air, that it might actually end this fight. 138%, one solid punch, and this one might be over. You do at least get one big blast to go across the stage, and that forces this one. Oh, it's like me using Skeletor straight off onto some Street Fighter, but that one will be where this one ends. Great comeback. Zap takes game 1.
I love that final combo as well. It just goes to the punch house and starts off this series with a bang. Getting the opener game, it feels like, allows you to have just so much control. Sure, you're locked into your initial fighter, but you've got that win under your belt. You feel the confidence going forward, and now you force your opponent to maybe rethink. Do I go somewhere different? It felt close enough that I don't think either are really going to change unless it's going to be the arena.
Yeah, that's very true. And also, I said Street Fighter earlier. I meant Skelly from Killer Instinct. So sorry for everyone. I should have known better. Look, it was in the moment. But basically, slide kicked him straight out of existence. We'll get to see if there's any kind of major change up because literally their weapon tactics and their entire kit and the mobility about how both those players are kind of on Kazuya and Rob was very similar. The key thing is that Kazuya's recoverability is a little bit kind of different. And wait a minute. So okay, so we're not keeping to Rob. So they are going to be going away from that one. I thought it was going to be player lock. Either way, all right, cool. They don't have a issue with it, so that means we're going back over to little Bowser Jr.
I like it. I feel like it adds a little bit more speed. You've got a lot of those weird projectiles and often some of those combo moves that are so quick to read. But Kazuya, as we've seen, can just rack up the damage out of nowhere, sliding into it. But those aerial maneuvers keeping Zap alive right now.
Yeah, if there's something to be found about a Bowser Jr., that they have a lot of different ideas. They have so much that can very much short range dominate you, and then they can bait you exactly like that. They're going to use that quick little bomb as that comes out, and then you just have so much difficulty because they can just basically abuse that, especially here on Kalos. So a lot for Myth to have to handle. And he walked into it. Oh, no.
The old game sending them out, and man, just again, so many different attack combinations able to hit downward just out of nowhere, out of short range for Zap, just controlling right now the stock count, but as much damage as you can get here is going to help you out in the long run.
The Mecha Koopa is such an abusive tool. If you guys ever play into League of Legends, Maokai does the same thing, and it's just a set it, forget it, and get some extra damage from it style of position. You're going to use the abandoned ship, and then you immediately hit him with that forward tilt. This has got to be tilting to a degree. Bowser Jr. is such a whirly-gig of damage coming at you. You never know which way you're absolutely going to get caught. And so far, oh my gosh, they are tossing everything they have at him. It is explosion after explosion.
I mean, he's still got a chance here for Zap to not even drop a stock and almost sends Myth right out of the arena, able to jump their way on back and just barely grabbing the edge before somehow 173 survives.
Oh, is he even able to parry away a perfect dodge out of the Devil Laser? Trying to throw yet another cannon. The Koopa's coming at you. It is a bullet hell central that they have to survive through. 149%. That stock is climbing. They're trying to dodge pretty much everything, and Zap is just giving them the goods.
He's ready to send him out. He's ready to take it. That's it. A 3-0 stock count as the #1 seeded Zap moves to series point.
Just lick the competition, literally. Wow. Okay. If there was anything that might come out of Zap, I don't know what to expect next. He definitely has great spam content, and Bowser Jr. is all about that. Look, at this point, Zap, give me Mr. Game & Watch, okay? I know he's light, but he hits the spam the same way. Look, do a Steve spam. Just do whatever you want out there, because if you stick with the Kazuya, I feel like it's just not going to be standard enough play to at least fundamentally to outdo the speed of execution that Zap is currently putting out on stage.
Yeah, Zap's just so mobile on everything that they've been playing, able to dodge away a lot of those big combo moves. That's what a heavy does. You've got to hit your shots if you're playing a heavy to do all that damage, and if you're never able to hit someone, well, you're never going to be able to win. Now it's something where, I mean, you throw anything at the board to see if it's going to stick. You're down 0-2. You've got to find something. There is still that lower bracket, but entering into the grand finals, knowing you have the bracket reset if need be, is just something that allows you to play with full confidence.
I also like that there is kind of an anti-newcomer, anti-DLC fighter, especially the shonen fighter concept, because, you know, you have Ken, you have basically everyone that's ever played Kazuya, and Kazuya has dominated a lot of the boards. Okay, all right. Well, we go into a shonen fighter. It's just Terry, but then you go over to some Steve. So I know that you are a Steve expert, so hit me with it. What should we be expecting? Is it just build-in time? Oh my gosh.
We're just mining some dirt, that's all, and it really is about the more time that you give Steve, the harder it's gonna be. The axe to axe to axe to axe 4-time combination, and then rail carts them off the map.
Oh, tough recovery as well. They're going to try and hit him with the down smash as well. Just put some lava. Just reformatting this to their playground. Once they hit him with the cart, get him tripping and skipping and slipping possibly off of the stage. They don't even need to do a lot of mining. They will finally begin doing so. This is some default madness. 128%. Oh, goodness.
Steve Masterclass, that's all I can say. A beautiful little combination there with a found upgrade into iron, then that slam across, and with the diamond now, the damage is going to be insane. Terry is on go. This is your big chance to fight back, but not if you're getting sent off the arena just like that.
One more to go. This was primed to be a thriller, but it has been a killer when you're on the other side of things from Zap. Can they have their wings guide them? You betcha. They're going to hit them with a spark of fire, and that may be the final one that gets them hot as they just continue to chase after them, one block after another, building a tomb for Myth to live in.
I feel like those aerial combos, if you can perfectly time, especially those pickaxe hits, they just hurt really bad. It's looking like possibly another 3-0.
This is tough for Myth. Just 3 separate plays. I mean, they started off on Rob, they go over to Bowser Jr., and then they just onto the Steve, and then they just make it into short work. Not quite gone, 137%. Oh, there's the lava, and that burns them right out. Cooked to perfection. TM7 Zap, the senior, they mean business. They're in grands in a hurry.
A phenomenal performance for what was a 1 versus 2 seed matchup. I think on the other side, when you already have played the Kazuya for 2, would have maybe gone for the switch, but at the same time, if it's what you're comfortable with, you try and find something, you try and find a battle against the speed, and you go into the Terry, which does bring a lot of speed in its combos, but once you start the matchup going down minus 50%, it's already pretty much over.
It really much is, and I do wonder, because, you know, at least on our scouting report, they are currently a senior, but they're not committed to anywhere. I want to know if TM7 Zap is going to end up going to a big program, because, we got to see Fisher do really well in the collegiate space just the other weekend, and, you know, there's definitely a want to get some of these big Smash players out there, but for the time being, as we, wax poetic and think maybe about where some of these awesome talents are going to go, we're going to go into a break, and we've got the grand finals for the Central region on the other side. Stick with us. More of the Macebin Showcase right after this.
Ah, come on. Come on. Before I switched to Brightspeed fiber internet, things like slow speeds and random dead spots really brought out the troll in me. I mean, I spent hours causing trouble. But then I switched to Brightspeed's fast, reliable fiber internet, and the rest is sunshine and unicorns. Looks amazing, Barbara.
Ultra fast, Brightspeed fiber internet. Switch to the bright side.
Hope you bought your boxing gloves. That was so much more difficult to say because we've got some Smash ready to go. It is the Central Grand Finals here for the May Spin Showcase. I'm Hell Monkey Man alongside Llama77, and we're going straight to it. Look at this bracket right here, Llama. Isn't it crazy? Isn't it? Who in the world made it through the lower finals? That's not what I was expecting.
Jam unable to finish off the job after the 5-map streak with them and Mystic. Falls 1-3 to Zebra. Still a bronze medal, not too bad to finish out the day. But now Mystic has the ultimate advantage, the bracket reset. But Zebra coming off a nice heater victory against Jam. This is going to be a good little grand final.
And it's going to be a rematch. The last time these two went, it went to a game number 4, and I see a Samus. Oh, baby. All right, if you ever wanted the distance battle to work out and to be able to cut it down to mid-range madness almost immediately, a Samus is a pretty strong character to pick into this awesome Sephiroth that Mystic has posted up today.
I feel like it's another one of those interesting fighters that can obviously ball up, turn into these different forms, and maneuver really well all across the map, but you still have to deal with the range and combos that Mystic is going to be throwing out. The ability to come back and find these kind of different combo sets inside of the matchup.
The problem is that it's a bit similar to what you get out of a Falco. The key thing is that you have to really have kind of a mind for creating the bullet hell for Mystic to have to deal with. They get a nice grab at least off of one. Counter plays are really good, especially whenever you want to bring out that big long range grab. So they can force Mystic to have to kind of sit themselves a little bit still, especially when they want to set up for that next kind of incursion to mid map. But as soon as they hit you with a katana, ooh, that's trade up. They're going to catch them. That has been their killer move to get those stocks done.
It's always the bait in that right side showcase of going over and over. It is going to be interesting to see how Zebra can utilize some of the bombs, some of the specials overall, and, well, Mystic doesn't get the grab of the ledge.
All right, so they continue to kind of bring this one back as we get this one to 2 stocks apiece. And this is exactly what I was hoping for. Remember, this went to a deadly game 4 that we did not get to envision or see over into the semifinals before everything came back about. You do have kind of that snap of damage ready to go to tick off for the Shadow Flare. They are able to at least keep them at bay for the moment. Cutting down some of that. You get caught onto these PS2 platforms, and it feels like you just kind of are ready to be popped like a pinata. They get back up on stage dead neutral. I like that little jump back air to force them up.
I think for Samus as well, I mean, you have some of those closer range attacks, but just building up some distance, getting those startup moves that can really do some big damage and force those possible early KOs, fakes it, rolls out, and then goes for a big hit.
I think one thing that some people forget as well is that that is a very metallic suit that Samus is wearing. So you get those hard shoulders, especially at close range, and then you're not ready for the blaster that comes right after. So far, so good, and delivers that big mecha boot straight to the body, and they are already able to start working on stock number 3 against them.
I think for Mystic, this is where they need to try and do their classic 2-stock comeback. If they can bait more towards the edge, go for some of those downward slashes, controlling the air is definitely ideal.
There's actually some love over into the chat as well. Zebra Shark apparently is being supported by Stevens. They went against over into the loser semis, so hoping to give some good luck over to the person that got him 144%. They're trying to build up as much bonus damage as they can right now against Mystic. Can't quite get him on the grab. These short hop slashes that can get from the tip of the blade. See if they can be able to tackle in through some of this flamethrower. A lot of neutral ground. They were hoping to get the timing and deflection, but they actually got him off onto that left side blast stage, and they're not going to chase it too far.
Gonna drop a bomb, wait for it, and Mystic goes aerial that time. It's still this first map, but it's the final stock apiece, and just quickly, that being said, Mystic is done. Zebra takes the first map.
Fantastic back air to finish things off. They knew they had the leniency to kind of fling themselves whole body up into Mystic, and Mystic, they receive a wake-up call now. Now, remember, this is a double elimination bracket, so you do have a bracket reset that will be happening. And for all of you that are wondering, we will be throwing, if it goes to a bracket reset, that will be going to the B stream. So this winner's final, or rather this grand final, very telling as to where things kind of go, because Valorant will still be on the way here for our spin showcase. But so much fantastic kind of neutral, that flamethrower, pre-reading some of those jump ups by Mystic, not letting them go and kind of find easy space to navigate around PS2.
And one of the huge things is just controlling the platforms against a Seth who we've seen all day long. Mystic has done a really good job to use that upwards mobility, hit those slice and dices over and over and build up that early damage. The good news is you've still got more maps to play for. This next one is going to be a big one. If you are Mystic here, you're going to go for the switch up for the first time.
Okay, all right. Trying to turn things a bit around. They recognized that this was starting to get well read by Zebra Shark. You had kind of seen that they didn't have a lot of, they didn't stay to those corners. And not a lot of direct on ledge guarding. They started just kind of dropping a bottom and letting them come back into it. So now you've got the punch fighter that comes through. And this is one of the biggest things I see out of this. This is actually a very early game fighter that works well against a Steve and creates a ton of distance, especially here on Final Destination. So this is going to be about getting some of the extra work on the artillery from out of Zebra Shark.
I mean, you're just working off of a flat arena, no platforms, and of course for Mystic, you've got the longest range, and that right side hit good enough to yoink that first stock.
That one goes flying on by as Min Min. Oh, I mean, it's a fantastic zoner for the most part. You're able to land so much off of these punches, and so the arms will land on the target. And they're just giving them the clamps straight into that robotic body. So Zebra Shark seeing every single blast that comes out being immediately kind of countered by the distance applied by these long just fists of fury, and that is already a couple.
And there's just no real punish to the edge guarding. You can sit in the middle of the arena, force your opponent off here, and just playing the Min-Min to perfection. Looking like Mystic wants to immediately take back this second map. Does have to be careful about those recoveries. You miss a couple of those arm grabs, and it can send you flying.
Yeah, if you send out those blasters, you throw your fists forward and basically fully negates. They just explode upon contact, and you don't really get that much damage at all. And as soon as you try to cut any of it down, they're not able to do the same thing. Remember, so much of what was working in that previous game was off of flamethrower neutral play. They do finally get them at 150%. They're going to fully build up that blaster. So as they come down into this next stock, they're trying to keep it close quarters, but this is just great distance work out of Mystic.
Could take about a 40% chunk there, but the Rockets are going to miss. The shield goes out, and that's going to be Mystic, sending it to a 1-1 count with a hand jaw to the face.
That is a big bowling ball fist. I would never challenge Min Min to an arm wrestling contest. Oh, wow. Okay, so that one very much a switch up. So let's talk about it, because I feel like that was a complete and utter counter against the Samus. You just take over long distance space. Heck, that was about more than I think 50% of the stage with the distance and length that you can get out of those arms. So if you're on that Samus, do you even go right back into that same character, or is this a time to see if you can switch up this stage and stay character? What do you end up kind of changing for this next battle plan?
I think it's both. I think you're going to be looking for not only something that's going to control the stage, but also it's kind of that semi-mind games, because we found out we're not playing fighter lock. This could just be both players swapping off. They say you swap to something, maybe I'll pre-predict it and go for something else. And I think for Mystic, you just have so much control because you know you have the bracket reset. You're not the one that has to win here in this series directly, so you can try a few different things to see if they work out.
See, eventually, if you beat them through a war of attrition, you don't want to let them get into that confident groove, that that mojo that a lot of great Smash players have. So, okay, it has been a long time since I've seen a Captain Falcon fist to fist, punch for punch. This is a pound for pound fist fight. Let's see if Zebra Shark brings it back.
And I think what I love about the Falcon is you've got a really interesting set of mobility. You can jump over those long-range strikes, get in close, and that's where Min Min does not want to be. Min Min wants to keep you at the range, keep you at bay, and then hold you with those edge guards, especially switching up the stadium as well. We talk about having that secondary platform. Mystic has to deal with some of the ways they struggle from that high-low play.
Yeah, so far, though, it has been pretty good. They actually do get that sweeping kick, and they're going to be able to use that Falcon kick to really take over some long-distance space, much the same way, like the down smash. They're able to tilt them away from a ledge to ledge, and wow! That was, I think, a succession of like 60 or 70% in a row, side to side. First stock goes the way of Zebra.
An upwards kick, so good to do some extra damage. The great mobility right now. Zebra is holding the line. The interesting thing is, Falcon really doesn't have a projectile, so you have to be the one to get in close. A perfect shielding there, and Mystic is just going to keep pouring on the pressure, making it 2-2.
You can basically use some free lateral punches out of Min from underneath that stage, so it really protects you, as well as you just can throw them out for free, and you don't have to kind of worry too hard about a counter when you're just dropping back onto stage. So now, as a reapplied general control, they don't want to ever be dead center. They want to be kind of off onto a ladder third. They will be able to get themselves a nasty recovery. That is such huge distance for that up special. Still, now you talked about the lack of projectile. They're still having to close this clinch in close quarters against Mystic.
And it's gone into a real close matchup. I like that follow-up attempt off the screen to try and go for the footstool to smash them out, steal away another stock, and just edge guarding really well, not allowing Min to get comfortable, to throw out just claw after claw. And the interesting thing is, if you can get in, if you can get some of those grabs especially, you have high damage, but now Zebra, high damage in their own right.
Yeah, just looking for some of these big pre-reads. You do get the big boost, big grab, and then another big boot. That is some good old 0G madness from out of Zebra Shark. They will be forcing Mystic to go and lean back, but 122%. They're going to keep the pressure on if they want to apply some extra bonus damage.
Of course, Mystic, multiple times today already, we've seen them come back from this deficit, and with Min, with this damage already, it can really be one hit is all it takes to send you flying off the screen, and Zebra somehow survives 160. There's the stock.
That's only 27%, so couldn't really lead from the front on that one. They will use the Falcon Kick to try and chase them down and cut down this distance. We are playing a lower blast zone. They use that up special to be able to get back to it, but now as they recover ladder, they have to go directly into the face first of this Min. They dodge away from it. It was a counter pick to try and deal with them, but now it's all the way as a footwork finish right now, trying to force Mystic to have to run away. They are just ledge guarding. They're trying to just stay on their hip.
It's right there. You gotta stay close range now, and Min was going for some of those grabs, but once they get back to the air, we'll send it to 100%, barely surviving. Zebra grasping for life.
There was such a close range grab attempt. They were able to shield away from it. They know that they're going to be chasing them down every single time that Zebra Shark cuts the distance. So does Mystic. As they find another one big punch, and it will connect again. That one sends them flying. Mystic recovers well. They take out the captain, and they send the Falcon to the bin. This will be Mystic going to, well, showcase point.
One more victory on one more map is all it takes, and I mean, it's the Mystic Classic. Come on, down to stocks. Why not just win? Utilizing the range all throughout and finding mix-ups. One of the interesting thing about the Min kit is if they get in close, you don't have a lot of answers except that grab. And that was hit a couple critical times to turn back the favor of the damage. And now, like you said, just one away from victory.
We were one air dodge and grab away from being able to see maybe that turn the complete other direction. Sonic, my man. All right, I don't know where Zebra Shark's been hiding, but they're hitting all my favorite characters. So trying to tell them that you're too slow, or is it just going to be a quick victory? Sticking with Min, going to try and punch this hedgehog out of existence.
And honestly, getting some of those close-range combos we talk about that are pretty rare in the Min kit, starting to hold Sonic a little bit at bay. You open with the 48%, but again, you gotta dodge away from some of those speed attacks. Once you do, I mean, you can just handle this fight with range again.
Yeah, you don't have, it feels like every single player or every single character that Zebra Shark has kind of jumped onto has a similar kind of idea in which that character is able to traverse. And again, no big projectiles. They do have the ability to kind of change up speed and pace. That's really in Sonic's wheelhouse, but you need to win the melee grab, and you have to change around the targeting. They use that quick spin charge to be able to just cut down that distance. They're going to have another just general neutral special to be able to get that homing attack, and they're just pressing them down punch for punch.
I think the other tough thing that you bring in when you talk about a Sonic is, sure, you have all these chip damage attacks. You're up to 94%, great.
Nice.
Sonic can often really struggle to get those final KOs, and if you're not KO in Mystic stock, it could be a quick day for you.
Trying to be able to get them again. All right, got the up tilt. See if they can force them to go side to side, just trying to guard. That was wonderful. Finally getting the neutral air to really get them off to the side, and then they force them to chase. You're just never going to get a Sonic when you're coming in from your next life. They're just going to run away from you, but the point of aptitude is eventually they have to come to you, and these hands were made for killing hedgehogs.
And just like that, Mystic is one stock away from a showcase victory here in the grand finals, and just using those down attacks to again and again and again struggle through this single platform arena. Zebra needs an answer.
Feels so difficult. He's got to catch Mystic unready, and that seems to not ever be a moment of time ever. So if they get back to ledge, they get right behind them. They use that quick charge up to come over to him. They can't quite dominate kind of footwork directly on stage. One up kick, 92%. This one's about to be over, folks. You have a whole stock advantage. You're able to at least grab one short hop, but a fantastic counter. They're going blow for blow with them. It is Zebra on the ropes. They've got to be able to win this through a couple of stocks, and they've got one last recovery. Pretty sure that will connect the bowling ball to the face. Mystic will do it the same way they did it in the semis. This one goes 3-1, but this time around, they're your May Spin Showcase champion.
Sets him up, knocks him down. Mystic, a nice little walk through the bracket towards the end, and kind of spicing up what they had picked all throughout of it. Really good adaptation going from that map number 1 to map number 2, and then just finding the mobility. When you talk about Min Min, it's got the long range. You can just sit in the middle if you really want for the whole entire map, but found really good mobility, found really good ways to dodge the speed that Zebra brought in, and overall just a really exciting match to watch.
Yeah, fantastic work. I think both of theirs much similar to what Zebra was able to do. Both of their characters, long distance melee, either a 7-foot katana or a 10-foot long springy arms. Either way, their reach was able to get them the trophy here for our showcase today, but there's still another trophy to give away as we've got Valorant on the other side of a short breaks. Hey, who's gonna take some 5v5 FPS? Only you can find out with us right after this.
Come on. Before I switched to Brightspeed fiber internet, things like slow speeds and random dead spots really brought out the troll in me. I mean, I spent hours causing trouble. But then I switched to Brightspeed's fast, reliable fiber internet, and the rest is sunshine and unicorns. Looks amazing, Barbara.
Ultra-fast, Brightspeed fiber internet. Switch to the bright side.
We're going right back into it, folks. We've got some Valorant that needs to be played and some players that are ready to be seen. Again, I'm Hail Monkey Man with Llama77, and we're going to be going into this Llama one matchup today. It's been best of one. It's still going to be best of one. Let's check out this bracket to really showcase how the pathway has been. Chippy Choppas. They taking care of business against B Minor. Everyone, I think it was way earlier that we got to see the Proud Feminists. They took on Magic, but they fell to Chippy Choppas. So knowing how good they are, this team is apparently an upgrade.
Yeah, and I mean, they're the 3 seed entering today, so kind of got that upset on the 2 seed of B Minor. On the other side, Dreamland, the 4 seed, upset the number 1 seed in a 13-11 bout to make it here towards the final. And, you know, Monkey Man, Dreamland is actually got a player that we cast regularly in one of our other leagues as well.
Yeah, that's very true. We've got Nikto that will be coming out there, and so they've got a whole crew. I think Nikto is actually a senior this year, so them alongside Chupi, Icy, a whole set of seniors, some the same way on the side of Chippy Choppas with Ryder, Akio, and Justin. So a lot of seniority, a lot of experience, and a lot of players are looking to possibly bring some of this to that next level and to another forthcoming program. But we're going over to Icebox, and Little Birdie told me, a little llama absconded with the idea that they like this map. Tell me exactly why. Is it literally just your agents? What's so good about Icebox?
I think Icebox, it's a unique 2-site map. On the one side, you've got an open site that you can plant kind of anywhere. If you're someone that likes to take sites quick, you can play it with force, you can take it really quick. On the other side, you have a very retakeable one that has hideable positions. So it's kind of the yin and yang that I like. I also think that we don't get to see Viper enough, and Viper is just really a staple of Icebox.
And, you know, talking about Viper, I love her. We'll be playing Viper. I don't know who that is, but take that as you will. I think that's the 5th that we did not have on our main scouting report. So they're coming through kind of as an unknown, but to fulfill your need for further Vipers, Bren Denise looking for another chance to double up the all poison clouds that we got out there. Double controller, though, as Icy locks in that Clove, and you and I will be staring down the pipeline with Nikto to see if that Jet will be able to counterplay into Frost Jet as well.
I mean, talking about that other league, Nikto's team is actually the number 1 seed headed into the Pennsylvania State playoffs. So that team has really led them to success with the duelist ability. And we're pretty much going to have the same diff other than the Reyna and the Clove. We've got everything else very similar. Now, obviously the Reyna good for the blinds, but I think the Clove smokes, and especially having an agent that can smoke after death, is just so huge to have.
It really is, and I think that both these teams right now for their compositions are playing into their stronger position. That double duelist to really apply some long-standing pressure. You have a single blind. In fact, on this map is only one blind, and it is Ryder's Reyna. So how much of that will play a part to have to deal with the double smokes that is on the side of Dreamland? Dreamland has already undone the number 1 seed when it was 13-11 in that semifinal. Chippy Choppas, gotta see if they've been able to really promote from the front. They're gonna be bringing some heat, especially with this double duelist comp, and they'll be starting on that attack.
And going on the attacking side of Icebox, some of the time can be really, really tough if you're not careful. So you've got to be very decisive about where you want to go. Those late round post plans, you also have to be very careful about that you're not overusing members, because the economy can falter pretty heavily as well. But it's the Grand Championships, no second chances here, and we're off into our pistol round.
See if they can get one quick dink. Frost got in, got out, and said, nope, not dealing with any of that. They're going to try and clear the majority of these corners. Generally, you set up a cross from along this server side and see if anyone drops into you. Icy will be playing Frenzy Gang, by the way. They've got the, I think that's like the Nerf skin, I think. It's like, it looks like Buzz Lightyear. I don't know if Buzz would use a Frenzy, though.
I think he would. Maybe he's more of a sheriff guy.
Oh, that's true. He's like Wild West, like space sheriff. Yeah. Okay.
But, I mean, you pick up whatever you can get if your opponent drops a Frenzy. I don't think Buzz Lightyear's turning that down. A 2-man rotate over here towards the B side, and A few shots from Aiko just to let them know we're still here, we're still playing in a 3-stack on A. They do have that Viper wall set up to go to chop the B site in half.
I'm sure they're going to condition that a little bit, put that talk screen towards B and see if anyone breaks. All right, so this is going to be a burst moment. Can you get one solid pick, or do you simply just force your way through the 30-second mark, and this is when the attack has got to go down. The alarm bot is going to alert them. Oh, Icy eventually catches Akio lurking onto that A. So now with some of that pulls a rotation. There's only one man to beat. Brendanese does, in fact, get traded out. This talk screen will provide some cover, and they do get the plant off.
They do have a Sova to battle against, though. They've lost their own Sova, so that extra information going to be just chipping out, knowing they're going to be working around the yellow box, the backside where two of them are located. Cloak smokes, but I love her. It's the headshot through it. Frost has got another, and it is starting to break down. Now you've got to go forward for those kills. You don't have anything left here for the Killjoy either, so it's all on Icy. Needs to hit these Sheriff shots, and around the corner, Frost has got a 3K. Make it 4. Pistol round opener for Chippy's Chapas.
Just like one of my favorite casters, as well as previous esports directors told me, he's like, you know what? Don't buy shield on round 1. Grab your ghost, go kill people. Frost with a 4-0 to start things off is already possibly flexing a big weapon, depending on what ends up happening. And so they're going to have a Vandal if they stick with this buy, which this is the buy round for the Chippy Choppas. They took their sweet time there, Llama, to really make that decision, but they wanted the perfect moment to do it.
They found the angle, and now they're up 1-0 on the attacking side of Icebox. Not too bad. There's a spray down from Frost that damages the opposing Jet down to about 20% HP. The interesting thing is they're going to be sending a player down through mid and possibly up through the tunnel. Frost has got a Vandal and uses it wisely.
Frost can absolutely take advantage of the situation. Nikto, oh my goodness, you're basically fighting against the a player, or well, rather a engineer and their killer robot in support over the shoulder, but Brendanese will at least be able to take down some premium German engineering for now, but it's a 1v4. Brendanese, they land one. Hot shot snap. See if they can get it onto Frost. They will escape with that cloudburst. What a way to at least get an extra.
2 bullets. Oh. Okay. Thought it was enough, but 3 is all they will get. Some good damage here, at least on the bonus round. So Dreamland should be able to have the weapon advantage because they didn't fully full invest. Had some Sheriffs here or there in the last one. But you're still talking about Frost, who is already on 6 kills, 1 away from the Bladestorm, has that Vandal and that dangerous regen shield.
Yeah, and I believe that someone did, in fact, pick up their Vandal that they had bought in that previous round, so you have kind of that elongated economy. They're going to give it back to them and maybe even have another buy. So you have a pretty hefty armory to have to deal with if you're Dreamland, especially with this being your first buy-up round. Chippy Choppas want to run with maybe some pace, but they got a 3-2 split, and look at the push-up by Nikto here trying to get them off guard.
That's what you want your Jet to do, especially on that B side, but no, it's on the A, and Aikyo is able to take him down. That's going to open up the other side. Brendanese needs to be huge, and Frost takes the 1-for-1 trade. The screen is going to block everything off, but do they go for the plant, or is it all a rotate?
No, I think they stick here, and they're waiting for anyone to push up through the smoke. Talk screen eventually is going to drop, and they have to deal with this Clove Ruse. Maybe they stick for longer. They're going to be given the go signal regardless, and that's going to be risky. That falls. Yeah, this is as free as it can get. They're going to throw at least one shock dart. They have an ear and an eye and a mind that someone is nearby. Demon Wand is going to get cleared out, and Akio does it against Icy as well. Chippy Choppas, their bonus round kicks off well, and Dreamland is stumbling.
That was a huge kind of cherry on top. Usually you don't see a team go 3 straight, and because of it, Dreamland, even though on the defensive side here, their economy is going to be in the gutter. Some Sheriffs, some shields here and there, but just trying to save over what they can. The good news is they've got the Viper's Pit, which can really cut down one of those sites.
Gonna wait to put out this turret just until they can handle it. I think this is gonna provide them some protection. No, it's all kind of a feint. Frost wants to get quick with it. Already up to 10 kills. They're gonna use that quick tailwind dash, but eventually Risky will hit their shots. So Frost is sat down. They do crest over double digits, the first to do it in the lobby, but this defense has now found a couple to be cleared out as well. So you will have no smokes, at least to this attack. So that means the proper coverage defensively could have a thrifty clutch, but Risky can't get away.
There are 2 players coming on the flank side, and I think you've got to just bide your patience here if you're the Sova playing long. Akio's got the headshot. Do they expect another? Well, they heard the shot, so they'll swing. Double kill off the headshot, and Demon Juan is not able to get the job done. Chippy Chappas shut down the thrifty and survive 3.
Just proving you gotta kill one to know one. And that one ends up being easily done as Sova v Sova violence happens here in Antarctica. So Chippy Chappas, they definitely had the better weapons. Now into this proper rifle round. We haven't really had a true rifle round as of yet. We've had some rifles congregated by Chippy Chappas when they're on their bonus, but this is gonna be the first full buy that we get from Dreamland and company. So they need to stabilize here or else they're going to be caught in the cycle of suffering.
And this is an interesting open Viper wall here. It's going to be towards the left side of A with this fast hit coming through. All 5 stacked on top of the Owl drone. And realistically, Dreamland, either you invest the Viper's Pit now or you back off and face the Fury. Frost is in for 1, 2. The daggers are slicing and his teammate protects him from dying. 4v2 post.
Monsuda covering them just when they ran out of knives and they were able to throw one solid shot into the face of Nikto. Nice spin. Can they be able to cover down? Yes, they do. They have the spray control. Akio eventually gets rid of him. Down to a 1v2, making it winnable and reasonable. Brendanese on this flank. They're going to be up in this rafters. They're looking to see if anyone is there. They have in mind that someone was. Oh, caught with both knives out. They will win on the other side. I love her. For the Chippy Chappas, poor Brendanese, both Vipers sharing one brain cell there.
They both were scared. They needed to get back to the site. Eventually, though, I mean, it's just this clutch potential. Right now, Frost has double the kills of anybody else in the lobby and has already used those Blade Storms to the fullest of the effect. Still some rifles up and available because of the loss bonus that Dreamland is on. They've been waiting a long time, though, to use that Viper's Pit.
Yeah, you know, they're just kind of hanging with it. Now, to that same regard, you can use it as a retake mechanism. It's a long, telegraphed, and difficult kind of util to really kind of get out there, especially if you have to play close proximity. But you also use it basically to cut off all space. Chippy Chappas looks like it's a team that's good for ego checking into it. So Risky is going to navigate through this kitchen position. They have a good understanding that someone has been at least challenging up in here. I love her doing it again, but Brendan is going to be chilling and waiting for this B strike. They've liked this site so far.
Miss the Owl drone. Miss seeing everybody is going to hear it. But for Demon Juan, it's already Risky popping things open. This is Brendanese's chance. Will now go for the swing outside the orb. Ryder's got that kill. And here's the go button. Ryder's got 2. All of a sudden, that crossfire is good enough. But the Empress, Nikto, is good for 1. And it's all down to the Killjoy, who is all on their lonesome. It's Nikto and a 3K.
Finally, Dreamland puts a tourniquet and pulls it tight, stems the bleeding of rounds, and Chippy Chappas, they see themselves surrender at least 1. You're going to have a Viper's Pit online both ways. You've got that kind of a very global retake, at least for a single site, off of the lockdown that's available now here for Risky, who has been maybe not up to pace. They found some premium shots, but you've definitely been leading from the front if you're Frost for this Chippy Chappas group. They have post plant covered if they can get any of these ultimates to really hit. Blaze Storm will come up for Dreamland, and they cover it up with this Viper Pit, so they're not going to let A go easy.
That's a low Viper's Pit, but the knives are going to be invested there at the start. Only the classic is what is battled back from Nikto. And Brendanese is also going to have the shoddy down low in that Viper's Pit. The problem about that one is you allow those zip lines right above your head to be free to reign. And look at this. Ryder takes down the pit. It is a nightmare scenario here for Dreamland.
They take down the pit and they give themselves options. The spike is actually coming back while 2 players go over towards B. They think there's maybe only 1 person of contact here. The Owl Drone will see Ryder. And this is starting to becoming a timing situation for Chippy Choppas because looks what's happening in mid. You got the Bladestorm about to get used up. Ryder clears out Nikto. Do they get caught on this flank? No. Akio gets rid of Icy. They do clean up Demon Juan. Now this plant will come through into a 1 versus 2. Risky's hit their shots before, but I haven't quite seen them clutch up yet.
I mean, you've already invested so much here for Dreamland. You wonder, maybe it is time to just invest the lockdown. See if you can try and go for that 1-on-2 here. And for Chippy Choppas, they're just going to play that long range. Very minimal utility left to go, and it's planted up top here. So even tougher to try and hit it. It's going to be the orb popped as well. Ryder gets a 4K, and Chippy Choppas are guaranteed a tied half.
You know, we were talking about at the very beginning of this. You get that double duelist. It plays a very high favor of pressure and lethality. And Ryder, sometimes Reyna is kind of a comfort pick for most, but it also adds a wonderful wrinkle that is unpresent otherwise through everyone else on this game. And it's being able to ramp up with pace through especially the Empress, but also having those blinds. And Ryder definitely just didn't fade out. They were able to keep getting some extra health too off of the Devour. So you do that when Frost is basically not present, you can find some great value. Nikto on the op crutch. They're looking for a second one. I thought they're going to be able to walk away with 2.
Well, Risky will take one anyways. This is a nice little push-up here from Brendanese, caught with the knife out. That is the spike as well. It is 5v1. But Akio is looking to take it all. Grabs the spike, has a 2-on-1 upcoming. Where to look first? No. Demon Juan gets him with the headshot. And Dreamland off of the operator purchase win their round.
Yeah, that one surprised even me. We got to see that one come through, and they haven't really been challenged vertically a few times, even off the previous round on that Blade Storm. Everything was to the floor. Finally, when you get Nikto going into an elevated position and they've got an up, now it forces them into this challenge point for Chippy Choppas. And look where Frost is. He doesn't have his Blade Storm. He's 4 points away from having his ultimate, and he's going to have to rely on a Stinger, which means he's going to have to be kind of hip to hip with a lot of his teammates. They go into a 1-4 position. Empress gets popped, and Chippy Choppas is going to try and run behind it.
They're going to go straight down Broad Street here. Straight in towards the B site where they've got access. It's going to be the Hunter's Fury laced on top of it to try and deny some of this early pressure. All of them are in the line of fire. The health bars are weakened. And Risky with that opener headshot. It is just trapped in a can of sardines. Icy doubles. Akio at least gets something back. But it's the not dead yet. Dreamland's got a 1v5.
Get one, you jump in the window, and Nikto will throw a 50 cal through their thigh pad. So 3 now here for Dreamland. Chippy Choppas is assured at minimum, like you mentioned before, something dead even, but they were trying to at least find an advantage. Dreamland will see a timeout taken against them as Ryder's like, all right, we kind of threw ourselves in the bin in center. They were basically rats in a cage, and everyone had spread poison literally everywhere. There was no way out.
I think the good news for Chippy Choppas, even though you've lost a couple rounds here or there, you burned out a ton of ultimates. Hunter's Fury, not dead yet, used in combination that last round. We saw the Viper's Pit and Jet Knives used as well in combination just a few rounds ago too. You've got 3 really big ultimates, and I think they are space clearing ultimates. You could use the Viper's Pit to just hold down one of the sites after you get a plan. The lockdown can give you free access, and well, the Hunter's Fury is just pretty good at killing people.
Yeah, that's very true. I kind of almost expect, because, well, they don't have a Hunter's Fury to kind of knock it down. You can't, as Dreamland, outright counter that lockdown unless you want to go maybe double Snow Globe. You've got one lockdown traded for another as they try to open up space. But then if you really want to get even more, cheeky about it, if they pop theirs to counter yours, well, you have a Hunter's Fury. It's a lot of global util countering. Lots of trap cards here laid out for this duel between Chippy Choppas and Dreamland. Only separated by 3. Nikto going to be on top of yellow box. This is a great read for this op position.
Chance to pick up a lot here. Aldrone goes first, is going to second bolt, does connect, so sends them down. They're going to walk actually back over to a safety spot with their Viper, but this is a fast move, not the economy that Chippy Choppas wants to have, so they need to get some sort of pick to open things up. If they can yoink 1 or 2 weapons, could be an entirely different story. As that first bubble comes out, the immediate counter comes through. Hunter's Fury ready to rip through as Frisky hits a headshot, and hold on, Demon Juan has got one as well. 1 player detained from that Killjoy lockdown, but it's still the site hold.
Sometimes I just call things and they happen. Double Snow Globe and a Hunter's Fury to counter the other one. They don't really gain much from either. We just burned 3 ultimates. They could use, off of some individual play, well, I mean, they could use that Viper's Pit if they really want to gain some extra space. Aldrone was conserved and preserved for later. Demon Juan knows that they're going to get sightlined at least onto 2. So they got him trapped beyond that yellow Canix box. With Icy finding them off angle, now it's about just pushing them together, and you're able to get Dreamland up to 4. So this has become near even through the first 10 rounds.
It's been a really good work back from Dreamland. I think it's not only the clutch potential, also just having that operator in the mix cuts down a lot of the angles you want to go for. It cuts down a lot of the initial game plans you can pull out of the book. I don't want to see these 2 ultimates be saved until the next half, because you can't save them until the next half. For Chippy Choppas, you need to use them here in these next 2 or you're going to lose them.
I mean, this Blade Storm's getting used right now. So that's going to get picked up, as they are going to preserve at minimum. Assure that they will have a hero rifle going into the next just in case anything crazy goes down. Icy takes up so much space going through that ramp, unable to win the next duel against I Love Her. So they do have at least 1 extra ultimate that could get them this round and assure a 7-5, or at least make it more feasible. 3-man stack leaned from mid to B. So you're really relying on Nikto to land their shots here with this operator, and that's exactly why Owl Drones exist, to see if they can move a hot sniper.
And it's actually going to push Nikto back into the stair side. So with that Viper, Nikto still hits a shot, cleared out for nothing, and it's going to be double ultimate invested. It's going to be the Blades going wide here and back towards the Clast, moving their way through now with the daggers in hand. With that Viper's Pit, you can just play very safe.
An operator's not going to be the greatest weapon to get in there, so they're going to have to get close quarters combat. Everyone's basically hiding from around this hard mid position. They don't know where they're kind of running in from. They're going to try and clear them away off of the Ode, and the Ode doing fantastic work. They do at least get rid of 1, and that's going to be another successful retake. Chippy Choppas seeing this chip chop slipping from their fingers, as Dreamland will find a 5th. We are going to the last round of this first half. They are going to be in the bin when it comes to creds, and Dreamland is living rich.
It's not like Chippy Choppas really has any ultimates to battle for either. The closest one there too is the Hunter's Fury, which is still 4 away. Guess you could call it the Empress as well. If Ryder goes on some sort of tear, you've got rifles. It's not going to be full shields for everybody, but this is still a very winnable round. You have to find how to move around this operator. If you can do so, it could be yours.
Love the setup that Risky just played down. They're hoping for a vulnerability from their alarm bot. Oh my goodness! Not even a chance. They know they've been playing. If they come up into B for that Owl Drone, they catch them completely unready and unsteady. Brendan Nees has moved up into this corner. They're going for this duel against Frost, and Frost at least got rid of Demon Juan. They've traded 1 Russian for another, but Chippy Choppas is a man down.
And Nikto's pushing up as well. A little bit further into A, Icy's the one to fall out front. That is your Clove, who can still kind of smoke after. Nikto did back up after that initial walk, so chilling in A, waiting for the team to go for a pincer. And you know, if you're Dreamland, you've got them contained. But it is all on Nikto now. If you miss a few shots, that could be your doom. And Frost is going to go up top. They're going to peek it at the same time. The shot still connects somehow.
They just wanted to peek at him, wanted to wave with their knife out. I Love Her is going to throw out the poison orb, and they're going to try and at least get this plant off. It's the same agents on either side. Now at least less one of us jet as Nikto has the boomstick. They're trying to see if they're going to be going high ground. They're planting for low instead. So it becomes 2v1. Nikto and the gang. Do they make it close quarters? They hit him with the shorty. A clutch up for I love her. What?
Switching sides.
Breathless. I mean, that's all I can say. Finds the 3K, the swap over to the shorty. Nikto really didn't have the rifling to battle that through. Had the operator not so good on the A side in those close angles. And boy, Jiffy Chappas, after what was a 4-round streak from Dreamland, find a clutch from their Viper. And, well, they lead in towards this second half, leading 7-5.
And now you have this very reactive, at least because you have a double duelist, a very reactive style agency because of the leers that you can get, the pressure that you can get from this rain. I expect them to steal so much extra space. Otherwise, Dreamland can kind of entry with all angles covered. You have that talk screen. You have the Clove that's able to get some of those solo ruses. And you can continue to condition because you have the Clove smokes to work with. That talk screen can go down onto A B every single moment if you need it.
Can build back up the Toxin as well to use it over and over. Brendanese the first to open, and that's a huge little shutdown in towards mid. That means that Jiffy Chappas has to open up another player. Going there, moving around their defense, but that control to destroy away. Risky finds the headshot. Nikto's got another, and it's already a 5-on-2 post plant.
First snapshot dub, trying to be able to take that duel immediately. So, wow. Ansuda gets rid of Risky. Jiffy Chappa's defense, hoping to make some answers. They want to clear this corner, and this is going to be a nice recon dart to give at least a tiny bit of information. Mansuda right around from Icy. They'll walk up together. They hit him with a right click, and that, y'all, that is the freest gun in the game. And they're able to turn it into a nice 2K. Dreamland will get this first pistol, and this buy-up might even us up.
Definitely has a possibility too. I think for Icy, the Clove is one of those agents where it's not a duelist, but it's like the closest thing possibly to it, where you have that clutch up potential, you have overheals, and you can even smoke yourself or hurt your other opponents in the process. It is going to be a real nice economy here for Dreamland. Now they've just got to choose where they want to go.
Dreamland looks like they're posturing for A, which is the opposite of the gamble stack that Chippy Chappas decided on when it came to B. So, seeing no resistance, seeing no activity, and seeing how Mansuda is probably going to be like, guys, I'm very much alone. They're going to start rotating through mid, and this is just going to be a swarm of Dreamland players.
It's going to be a run-in for sure. I like that kind of double smoke setup. They block off the doorway of both sides. You get the entrance through the stairway unavailable for the look-in, and now you've just got to play this 5-on-5 retake comp with double duelist.
They find around the corner. Ooh. There's a nice quick hit by Nikto on Suda. They've been staying for a little bit longer, and Nikto continues to just meet and exceed expectations. Flawless round currently posted up here by Dreamland, and Nikto trying to look for that ace. May very well do it. Can they land one extra? They at least put one through the core of the body, and they'll get an assist on that. Otherwise, easy cleanups, easy days for Dreamland and Chippy Chappas. I mean, they were playing down in Arsenal, and it felt like they were basically just throwing sticks at the side of Dreamland.
And Dreamland coming with a nice little full house at the end of it. Pick up a good hand for themselves and save a lot of weapons over in towards this extra round number 3. Don't win this one, and it's a double outlaw setup. There are 3 light shields. Those players are going to be at risk of being disappeared out of this round.
Looking for an early duel. Brendanese loved mid as like a point of first contact for the majority of that first half. So not at all surprised to see that kind of happen again. You do have this this outlaw here for Icy. Often see that here for Cloves, but they're confident they can land 2 quick shots in succession. Brendanese does, in fact, win the lurk duel against Akio, as Akio didn't know exactly when first contact was going to occur. So one big pick. They can't quite decide if they want to kind of actuate on that and if they would go towards B, but they're leaning to A.
It makes sense. However, you know you're probably going to be battling in towards that talk screen. Icy, there's the shot we were talking about. Ryder gets eliminated here, and well, if you stack it up right now, you could have a absolutely free and clear sight. There's a nice ultimate orb to send into the belly as well for whoever wants it.
I don't often eat mine, but you know what? It ends up helping out. Good nutrients for the
30 seconds.
I forgot what they call that energy. I don't know. It's here in Kingco, so I'm sure that they've got plenty of it. Frost trying to win that quick side-to-side sachet battle. They do so over Brendanese. So one good kill deserves another. Demon Juan very hurt alongside their compatriot in Frost. That spam Monsoon's going to get in, get out, and try to win it a different way. They do so over Risky, but still, you have two very hurt Chippy Choppas that have to deal with this.
Looks like it's just going to be the call for the save. I mean, you're talking about a round number 3 where next round the economy is just not going to be there because you full invested. So Dreamland, they're going to go up their lead here, increasing up to 8-7. And a beautiful little turn back. What was looking a little bit scary on that first start of their half. And they are on the search for Demon Juan. He's going to try and hide their way away. And for Frost as well, just 21 HP will still be good enough for a kill.
Hey, that's a good consolation prize. You find something. Monsuda might find more. No one sees anyone except for that previous. So, Chippy Choppas, for the first time this game in particular, they will have their lead taken from them just by force. 3 in a row at the beginning of this. Now, to remind everyone, it was 5-0 to start off the first half. So I think you and I at this point are used to kind of streaky mentality from both of these teams. But it's been Dreamland that from the last, I'd say 9 rounds, they've found a surplus of success from the last half to this one. So Chippy Choppas needs to stabilize.
It feels like it's got to be over the course of these next couple rounds. If you don't, Dreamland are a team that have shown they can work off momentum. They just took down the #1 seeded team to get here. And for I Love Her and the rest of the crew, they're going to go with a different Viper wall setup. It's going to be the X, the classic crosser, which will allow Dreamland access first towards this one. But as those walls go down, Icy now has a big crossfire to open things.
My expectation here is that no one's going to plant anything. We're just going to go into a TDM basically, and everyone's going to run it down. Icy now on the timer. They have about 10 seconds to get something going off of their not dead yet, so they will be pressing forward and pressing hard. What can they be able to do? They end up getting kicked out otherwise from the lobby for the time being. Risky gets themselves another big pick. They want to plant this. Do they set it up? Otherwise, what a find! They get caught from behind though. Frost is cleared, and we're in a 2v2.
This is just a straight up duel, as you said. No plant, just fight. Brandon Hayes is taken down with takes down someone with a headshot rather, and Ryder again is just on a runaway looking for a possible another save. The money situation is not good. The health is down to 65, and hold on, maybe it's just a wraparound sheriff play.
Enemy remaining.
Ooh, no devour. This means 1 perfect pixel to puncture the skull. Do they expect him to be to the right? They absolutely do not. Okay, yep, turning him into a ethereal being as Nikto will extend this lead. 9-7. Wasn't a fantastic buy situation, but the creds have completely slipped into the accounts of a Dreamland as they find 4 Chippy Choppas. This rifle round here, Llama, must be victory, or else we might see Dreamland slide to 11 in a hurry.
They've got a chance to really just put on the skates, put on the turbo boost here, and start to slide through. And I think it's even tougher because Dreamland, of the 2 ultimates that are on the board, the Viper's Pit, once you have access to that A site, especially in the attacking side, you pop that on the low ground, and it is just really tough to engage on. For Suda's, it's going to be interesting as they delay the owl drone, delete it away, and now get into that box position.
They were hoping to maybe just kind of use that quick ruse off of that. This is a decoy play. They are using this lockdown to maybe clear some space and gain some extra rotation. this is just to get people nearby from Chippy Choppas. Dreamland is otherwise rotating. If they get caught in mid, it will kind of lose some of its value. But I Love Her still drops by Icy. That's going to be first blood here for round number 17. And interesting call to be able to just kind of force that out. They're trying to get rid of the swarm so they can get this plant off. And that actually does not work out for Demon One off of that Odin.
Quick trade back. Keo able to cut it down into a 2v4, and Brendanese had actually disconnected for just a moment in this round, caused them to pause through spawn, and now it's all down to the Clove. We said they can clutch, and well, Icy's got the ability to hit that first headshot.
They do have the overheal happening. That will eventually go away. They double stack. That was very smart. You use one as a body shield. Someone's going to fall, but you had 3 players versus the one out of Icy. Chippy Choppas. Whew, sigh of relief, pretty much from everyone that was watching this, because they were letting this one slip through their fingers. They finally get something back, but this is gonna be another pivotal rifle round, every single one. Gotta gain some ground back against Dreamland.
I think this setup is going to be really interesting for the defensive side. You've got a lot of choices on a 2-site map. You've got 2 ultimates as well. That Knives could be useful to save the economy later, but that Hunter's Fury, do you want to save it for that lockdown that's going to be so far away, or do you want to try and go? The Blade Storm invested, the trade is there, and it's some jet-on-jet violence.
Yeah, and that was an early Blade Storm, like you mentioned. They want to build up at least a bit more into this eco. They don't want to have this next full buy kind of hurt them, so use one knife, you get a pick, you get a trade. You do have, as well, the Viper's Pit that could get utilized by Dreamland. Chippy Choppas. They may also just use this to get away. Okay, so they're actually gonna put up the anti-default. See if anyone walks through this Cloudburst. They catch him sprinting. Nikto from off angle gets rid of Ryder, and then the wall bang by Demon Juan. It's a 3-2. Chippy Choppas on the outside of this warehouse looking in.
Interesting little bit of Blade Storm as it is just the spray. How are you supposed to deal with that on the entry? A 3K for Demon Juan, and it is double digits for Dreamland. They can taste a showcase victory.
There's another timeout. That'll be the last timeout, at least that we see from out of the Chippy Choppas. So Regental. Wait, was that Regental? Wait, are they in this lobby? Hold on. What did I just see? Anyway, whoever took it. Regental is in this lobby. Okay, so Regental's like everywhere. So chilling with us. Chippy Choppas. Trying to figure out what in the world they got to do to kind of bounce back into it. They are one short of both a lockdown as well as a Viper Pit. You pivot for maybe some ult orbs, or at least be able to get a solid pick. They're not going to have a wonderful buy, and that's why Akio is looking at the Sheriff. But Dreamland, I mean, now this is kind of going punch for punch, blow for blow. It's very eerily similar to the way the first half went.
It's like a little bit of back and forth, but at the same time, rounds are coming at a quantity that you need right now. It is going to be interesting for Nikto. I mean, you're talking about now leading the team. You were kind of mid to bot fragging at the start now. Being on the offensive side of Icebox is not something that you love to be as a duelist, but at the same time, this needs to be your step-up moment. This is a chance where you can shut down some light shields and some not full buys from Chippy Choppas and get yourself just one step closer to earning that victory.
Remember, it was Dreamland that got through this from the #1 seed in a 24-round banger, denying OT from Just Cheesed. So, see what happens from this high ground. This is the first time that we've seen it out of Nikto. Keeping this one in the playbook for later. Wrote it on a sticky note, said, I will try it out and then some. They don't want to walk into that Viper's Pit. The vulnerability onto Demon One gets them cleared by I Love Her, so they steal away some close proximity here in center, and Icy keeps crisscrossing through this tuck screen as everyone escapes. Quick trades, and now the Viper Pit getting plunged over towards B site, and the plant coming through as well.
I like the pit especially because Chippy Choppas just don't know is. Where is he? You don't know. He's hiding up towards the high ground, and Ryder shifts in the night, takes down the Viper's Pit, and that's the opener. That's the Devourer. Yummy, yummy. Back to the tummy. That's a 3K. Risky. Spray. Transfer. 4K clutch.
Oh my goodness, Risky That is some risky business right there, especially as they come through. That is a junior keeping their head on a swivel. The fantastic spray transfer to keep this one rocking for Dreamland. Just when they were facing against numbers, the numbers fell one after another from the hammered fist of Risky. Chippy Choppa's this investment right now, Llama, this is going to be massive. They will have nothing if they lose this round, and Dreamland is playing for it all.
Luckily, you've got some ultimates, and you have to imagine you're going to use some of them. It's a 3-2 setup, but interestingly enough, it's the Reyna Sova. You are heavily relying here on Ryder to try and shut this down with the information. It's already Hunter's Fury. Icy, Brent and Denise have opened up their targets, and Icy isn't even a real kill, but it's the huge 4K from the Sova. The swing back, no. Demon Juan makes it a 2-on-1.
Frost is made for moments like these.
Spike planted.
Trying to get a moment to come through. They have an operator, might be able to catch him lacking. With the way the timing is, they might expect him to be kind of way flank. They don't see him at screen, but they've got most of these angles covered. One little touch up will do it. They're underneath their sight line. They catch one. You know, this 1v1, it's all about timing. They don't have a lot of health, so they're going to go to a Vandal instead. They have to play it high ground, and Demon Juan off angle knew exactly where to wait. Frost will see their operator taken from them, and Dreamland will snatch up match point first.
This is it. Dreamland 1 round away from being the May Showcase champions. They've got no ultimates to do it, but guess what? They've got an operator, and it's not on Nikto who's going to be rocking the Vandal for this round. They are just going to try and force their way in, and if Chippy Choppas stay on this 4-1 split, it could be a quick round.
Chippy Choppa's got to close all corridors, and they got to play right on top of one another. Have that 1vx mentality. Brendanese will be holding this one from down on long ramp. They will win this first contact. They've got Poison Orb, and there's a vulnerability absolutely running and gunning off of the Stinger. They will pick up that Vandal, and they're going to try and get back to their teammates on A.
It's going to be risky moving in. Nikto just solidifies too. Why not? This is going to be a plant. Lockdown, Viper's Pit. Akio takes down the first, and now from behind will set up this lockdown. But no, Icy clears them out. They're going to run forward to try and delete this lockdown. They're going to go forward into the Viper's Pit. The lockdown's destroyed. I love her's on 74 HP. And that's it. Dreamland, your victors in 13-8 fashion.
Winning it all, taking them down, knocking down Titans left and right across this bracket. Congratulations goes over to Dreamland as your May Spin Showcase champions. They take the dub, and what a way to do it considering that they were having to fight back from that early deficit. I believe the worst that it ended up being at one point was about 6-1, and then they walked it all the way into that second half. Icebox, hey, look, you gotta be ready for the chill, and you gotta be able to ready to be heated up. What a way for this team to take it.
I mean, it was a really good battle back, and I think a lot of step-ups from different players. That's exactly what you want to see from the showcase, is not just one player being able to move into a powerful position, but the whole entire team playing so cohesively together. And we talked about for Dreamland, this might not be the only trophy they're picking up this month with so many talented different players playing in so many talented different leagues.
Yeah, very much so. So we're going to be going to a break and seeing if even more of these guys are ready for some championship bouts. We got some Super Smash on the other side. We thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. There's still some solo mano-y-mano stock v stock fighting that's ready to be set here for the May Spin Showcase right after this.
Ah, come on. Come on. Before I switched to Brightspeed fiber internet, things like slow speeds and random dead spots really brought out the troll in me. I mean, I spent hours causing trouble. But then I switched to Brightspeed's fast, reliable fiber internet, and the rest is sunshine and unicorns. Looks amazing, Barbara.
Ultra-fast, Brightspeed fiber internet. Switch to the bright side.
Welcome back, everyone. It's grand finals time. We're going to be smashing about it here on this May Spin Showcase as presented by Stay Plugged In. For the last time, perhaps, I am Hell Monkey Man alongside Llama. And Llama, we're going to the east side of things, East Coast, Beast Coast, as we go into some Super Smash Brothers Ultimates. And we've got ourselves a rematch in Grands, but it was this close not being one.
It absolutely was. We'll get to see TM7 Zap versus the other man from the lower bracket in Myth. Not Dreamland. Dreamland already walked away with their victory. I don't think the whole Valorant team is going to play against Zap. But at the same time, it is just a fun grand final, a rematch. And we're going to start how we did the last one with Rob versus Kazuya.
Yeah, you know what? TM7, he's so good, he needs 5 people to fight him. You know, that's super fair, considering the absolute shellacking that he delivered unto Myth the last time around. It started with Rob. He showed Rob, Bowser Jr., and then finished it off with Steve. And remember, this was a very familiar kind of weapon set between both these characters' kits. They bring lasers and they bring fists.
Really is, yeah. The spin to win, though, on the other side from Robin. Look at this, already sending him down with the footstool Myth into the ground, and that stock one immediately. He goes with the super arms, and it's already 30% damage built up.
Okay, well, we're finding a little bit of combination. Unfortunately, yeah, you're going to receive the old double punch. That's what I call the super punch. I add a foot to that combination, and it's a deadly thing in real life. Catching them with the fire as well. There is no rest at all for Myth here. Oh, and just when you go peeking around the corner, catch these blasters.
I love the Rob little small hop combinations that you can do, using the booster jets to get back up top, and a 96% hit there upwards from the Kazuya from Myth. You're still in a dangerous spot. Being at 140, you need to land a KO blow. The shielding is perfect, and a spin to win for a 157. The beam does go high top.
Yeah, he was trying to hit him with a ricochet laser, just just aching for some clips to be able to go through. They do have the thruster online and then getting that up air. So again, anything that this Kazuya is going to walk into, preordained from this robot out of Zap. So as Rob finally falls, 40% and a couple stocks down, goes the way of Myth, but they're still in this fight for the time being.
Until he just goes extendo arm, over and over, send you into the air, and that's game number 1. Done and dusted. Zap opens up the grands with a victory.
You know, Myth, if I was being punched by 2 very synchronized robotic fists, I too would want to just be thrown off this stage. Just shin, boom, boom, boom. Feeling your tibia just getting blasted. Actually, hold on. The shin bone is which bone? Hold on. Do you already know? Because I'm about to Google this. What is the shin bone? It's the tibia. I was right. Okay. I thought I was making that up. Cool. All right. Tibia is a real thing, y'all. So, is this going to be the same thing? By the way, are we going to see a Bowser Jr.? Do you think he's just going to switch the same things that we saw before?
I think so. I think he's ready to style. I think he's pulling out the Bowser Jr. And then, bring out the Steve. Why not to finish it off? I think Zap very, very good on stability. And no, it's going to be the Rob repeated.
Okay. The Rob runback, if you will. Oh, we didn't really get to see much at all of the spinning top. You're just being escorted off of Final Destination. Thrust v thrust v thrust, finally getting the 1-2 uppercut jab, able to get the quick stunner, and this is how you do it as well. But he's ready to fight him all the way down underneath the stage for a second before that recovery is just a bit too far.
That laser beam going wide, it is so tough to win that below the stage duel, and it just feels like Zap knows how to control every aspect of this fight. With the burn down there, getting a little bit of chip damage, this is the moment if you're Myth, you need to strike back huge with some damage.
He is always ready for Myth to jump up into him and put him down. However, that ends up being a great uppercut, so they at least get one. A couple of just up airs, ready to just look. There's one thing that we get out of Zap. It's solid repetition, knowing how to just make use of that medium spacing and just not at all force you to do something that he's unready to kind of put on repeat. The double laser does disrupt at least a build up into the spinning top, and he's going to use that to create some space, especially for the big old blaster out of the Rob.
I love it, and really working around this Rob that is a heavier character. The first jump is not the biggest of gap closers, so getting that 100% damage already feels so good, but works so well from the air, moving up to down, and then just using the spinning top and blaster over and over again.
Starting to get a few reads, though, out of Myth. They definitely are at least getting the dodges away from the Robo Beam. However, those fists are made of furious work and stellar engineering. One stock for another, and this is as close as we've seen so far today. Zap has not dropped a single game to this point in the bracket. They might be able to deliver some hurt right now as Myth wants to be able to keep this one close.
I mean, at this point, both of these two fighters have very powerful KO moves. If you can get a grab, especially the jab combo as well after, can be lovely to see from Myth, but this is a must-win map. If you don't win it, you're talking about down 2-0. Another prediction there for a 60 damage.
Trying to be able to get that Robo Beam. We haven't seen a lot of damage, no combination. They do get him with the uppercut, trying to stun him out. Don't get the grab. He fully shields through that next kind of 1-2. Just waiting for him to drop up underneath him. He's going to aim for the ricochet down for another big Robo Beam. Trying to go up to the shin level. Those tibias hurt, and they will pile drive. Get him above. They have another grab. Just a rinse, repeat session, but he's going to get slammed himself.
It's basically next KO move hit could be the victor here in this one. And with Rob, you control the center of the stage. You go back for the blaster to the right and then aim for the Klipski. But the flap of the wings gets Kazuya back on into it. 120%, the spinning top downwards, and then the spinning hands, not enough.
He has to defend with some of those extra thrusters. A great counter parry, trying to be able to get right into him. Throws the top. So far, so good for a perfect day out of Team 7. But if you're cheering for Myth, he needs your help now. 130+% against Zap. Myth chasing after him. He ricochets with another Robo Beam, and he cuts the distance. Hits him with the rotor arm. He will be on championship point.
Probably the closest we've seen Zap from getting taken down in a map here today. And boy, 140% on both sides. Rob just finds the finisher. You talk about that mobility, the left side opens up the KO move and reads it really, really well. Now has 3 chances to close out in this series. And if Zap happens to lose all 3 of those maps, he's got a bracket reset for himself.
Oh, that's a long story away. A bard might get too tired to sing about that one for as long as it's going to take, because that one came down to the absolute wire. Couldn't close out and get one little connection. Staying consistent as TM7, trying to perfect sweep through the entirety of this bracket. Go 3-0s all day long and take away this May Spin Showcase Championship. Another trophy to add to the case. This is definitely a senior that is looking for everyone to try and bring them to their program and upgrade just a little bit. Gotta wonder if any changes will be occurring at all. If we're just gonna go Rob Kaziev. Kazie is a devil. Rob has been a demonic force to have to handle. And if he switches it up now, I feel like I don't exactly know what you change up. We saw some great play out of Myth. He's starting to execute just a little bit better and getting those reads against what you do on that Rob kit.
And honestly, it feels like you got to get ahead a little bit in the damage. That's tough to say. I don't envy the position sitting up here in the booth, because this is a 1-2 seeding matchup. These are 2 teams that have battled their way all day long through a really great bracket of some really great students, but it all comes down to winning at the end of the day. And if you're at 140 versus 140 and you can't finish the job, you wonder, are you going to get that chance again with a map that gets that close?
That's very true. And if you guys are actually, I see a few of you out there, if you're looking for the VOD that will be here for Stay Plugged In's this entire showcase, it will be getting posted to the Stay Plugged In YouTube, and it should be here published after the broadcast is over on Twitch. You can see the same thing, I believe, over onto the B channel for Stay Plugged In. Of course, make sure to follow all of their socials to figure out when the next showcases will occur. We changed things up. This is a smart move, not just because Zap has some work to be done, but they also realize that Myth has been reading them going into some of those combinations. So, as we go into this game number 3, it is just about closing it out and seeing what can be done to finally lift the trophy.
And again, Zap up 2 games already here. 2 of those maps on their side. Myth is going to have to try and battle against the speed of this Bowser Jr. and especially just those rockets on the end of the card are so good to work things left and right. As soon as those platforms switch off, I mean, it's the opportunity to do your damage.
It really is. And again, you have to create this bullet hell as everyone goes high to this guy. They use the abandoned ship to be able to get out of their cart. Ooh, aiming for that read, a double drill. They do at least get the body slam. That was full power for the first time in what feels like forever. It will be Myth in the lead, but for how long?
Those huge KO moves. Now every piece of damage you can get helps out, but it's only 12% in total as the flying shell sends them outside. And Myth now, this is your chance on 2 stocks outside the arena though. Not where you want to be. Down to the final stock for Myth.
It was as easy as that, just forcing him to have to cut that distance. There's so many extra recovery moves, and he is just being mallet whacked. Wow, that was really hard to say. Over and over and over again. You got the Koopa, and he's going to bring the pile drivers, just throwing one robot after another, finally getting the stunner to kind of close that distance. 112% and climbing right now. It is about clearing this one, and Zap just wants one more.
Zap looking for just another flawless run, and they will not get it. 145% here. Kazuya and Myth need to work back towards the platform, but no! It's the tongue that licks a perfect victory. Zap cleans out the bracket and is the May Showcase champion.
Drops a few stocks, but doesn't drop a game. Congratulations goes over to good old Zapcan, and that's TM7. They will be your May Spin Showcase winner. Absolutely doing it in clinical styling. It's something to be seen. Really, truly just a surgical process going end to end of this showcase. And you know what? I gotta wonder, TM7 seems like they're gonna be finding themselves a fantastic collegiate program to drop into. What a way to take it today.
I mean, honestly, showing a little bit of versatility. I think you go back to that last series as well, where, you know, they switch things up. That just shows schools that you don't just play one thing. You can be dominant, but be dominant on multiple things as well.
Well, let's show that bracket of what the pathway looked like here, at least for the east side. We went through Central. Well, it was kind of a similar, same, different paths all around. It was actually not what that lower final shows. It was Pro Mamma Mia that was facing off against Myth in that lower final, and they were able to go to a game 5, but Myth ultimately was able to overcome what was some chaos down there. Got to give some love over to Pro Mamma Mia coming in as a number 21 seed and running through as much of this as they could, but Zap, it was inevitable. Thanos snapping anyone that faced them out of existence.
And it was quick victories as well. I think that it wasn't just like playing a heavy and knowing what to do with those combo moves. It was playing very fast fighters, working around their kits, and overall just a nice day for Zap, but also for the rest of our students. I know you talked about for Mamma Mia, but also the second seed as well, getting all the way back to the finals, and every other player that took time out of their busy weekend to participate.
Very true, very much so. Myth, got to give them some kudos as well. But we also had some Valorant action that occurred, so we'll show you that pathway and remind you what we just got to see a little bit ago. They were on single elimination and best of one type matches. Chippy's Choppas, they came in hot and ready over into Icebox, but it was Dreamland that just were kind of on one. It was a magical journey for them, especially when they took down Wiley as well as Cheese, the number 1 seed, and then came back after what was a 6-1 down first half and really just kind of stayed stable. So again, another congratulations. That goes over to Dreamland, and hey, they take this Maceman Showcase all the same. So a lot of great student talents that have been able to kind of strut their stuff in front of all of our recruiters today. And I need even more of these guys to show up because we're going to be going into the summer. That means there's plenty of time to play video games. And that's really an important part for some of these seniors and juniors that are looking for those next programs over the horizon.
That's how I got my start, was just playing some video games in the summer, transitioned into what was a collegiate scholarship, and those opportunities are very much there.
Yeah, it's very much so. And it can't be without some great partnerships that, of course, we have here with Stay Plugged In. And if you haven't seen it, done it, or been part of it, well, now is the time, as the leading esports recruiting platform is ready for you to create your free profile that you can be able to do as well as and participate for free in these showcases. You can build up your personal esports brand. You can be able to compete in these online recruiting events, and you can also be able to take a step further if you want to expand that package and make your profile even more available to Spin Recruiting Specialists to create a specialized, personalized plan of action to be able to narrow down the school that you want to be able to go to. Visit StayPluggedIn.com. That is StayPluggedIn.com, and start your journey to collegiate esports today. We also can throw it over to our fantastic other sponsor and partnership with Brightspeed that's able to connect everyone today as well.
Yeah, I mean, playing games is impossible without some great internet, so good news for you guys that the new Brightspeed fiber internet is here. It's the ultra-fast internet that you have been waiting for. Now everyone in your house can stream, game, and do everything all at the same time. Brightspeed technicians can ensure your fiber internet works all over your house, and so you can too. No more searching for that one single spot in your house to take a video call. Don't settle for slow and unreliable anymore. Switch to Brightspeed today at go.staypluggedin.gg/BrightspeedApril. That is go.staypluggedin.gg/BrightspeedApril. Limited availability in select areas.
Of course, we want to thank all of our production available today. It was Lane X, Goose, as well as Shredder Shades that were able to put our faces in your spaces. Llama, thank you so much for hanging out with me here with Stay Plugged In. Did a fantastic job. Love being able to get in the booth with you, man.
It's always a fun time when we can bring the zoo crew together, and yeah, it was so fun. I gotta give a shout out to all the students. I know I was in their position at one point, so seeing them get this chance is just really cool to see. And you know what, if you were a college interested in one of these players, make sure you're getting involved on the platform as well.
I've seen a few colleges that show up into the chat with us, and of course, we will have these VODs available on all of the Stay Plugged In socials. You can see it on YouTube, on Twitch. You can find them as well on X, Twitter, whichever one you want to be able to call it. Anywhere that you can find some social spaces, this is definitely a recruiting platform that's able to get that outreach. 400 separate programs across the country that they've been able to connect with, and they want to do the same thing with you guys. And thank you guys so much for supporting all the fantastic talent for Super Smash Bros. And Valorant today. We had Overwatch 2 and Rocket League yesterday. You can look forward to even more showcases in the very near future. But for tonight, make sure to go give your mom a hug. It is Mother's Day, so go and do that. If you got the flowers, just, you know, give them a kiss on the cheek. But for tonight, I'm Hail Monkey Man. That is Llama. You have been fantastic, and we'll see you next time.